Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, as per your time zones and your locations. Welcome to Gautham IT Solution, one of the leading IT training and solutions providers in India. My name is Musab Sayed, and I'll be your trainer for Linux administration. I have 12 plus years of IT experience. Most of the trainers in Gautham ITs are well experienced to give you best training experience. In today's class or this video, we are going to talk about Introduction to Linux. Many newcomers or the people who are shifting their domain from one to the other wanted to know about Linux. So this video is all about you. In this webinar, we are going to talk about when Unix was introduced, what are the flavors of Unix, GNU movement, invention of Linux, flavors of Linux, and finally the areas in which Linux is used. So basically, if I start talking about Unix, as it is the mother to Linux, Unix is also an operating system. In general, we use many operating systems like Windows, OS X in Mac OS, Solaris, IBM AIX, many. These operating systems are really important. You know the role of operating system, I guess. Operating system is used to convert user-friendly commands into binary codes, which system understand, and binary instructions into user-friendly options so that we the user can communicate with system and system can communicate with us. There's a beautiful definition for operating system. It's an interface between user and the hardware so that user can communicate with hardware and hardware can communicate with user. So one of the popular operating system that started very early in the computing age was Unix. Unix was introduced by two computing geniuses, Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie. Ken is father of Pascal language. Initially, he started to work on Unix, developing it on Pascal language, but it did not went on well. So he combined his project with another great computing genius, that is Dennis Ritchie. I hope you are aware of Dennis. Dennis is father of C language. So on suggestion of Dennis, they started to develop this Unix on C programming language and it was perfect. Initially, when Unix was released, it was not commercialized. Let me tell you one thing, that before Unix also, we used to have many operating systems, but those operating systems were like software. One OS only for one purpose, other OS only for other purpose. Unix came as a unified solution where in one operating system you can use various applications and you can work. So the story begins in the year 1969. In AT&T Bell Labs, this Unix operating system was released. Now, as soon as Unix was released, it was not commercialized. They started to give it to colleges and universities so that students or people can feel what exactly Unix is. But slowly and steadily, people started to understand the importance of Unix. And many big companies wanted to adopt Unix. So they contact AT&T and they ask them to sell Unix. See, instead of selling Unix, they started to sell the most important coding part, which is called as source code. So the source code, the base code on which the operating system was developed, was released by AT&T. They told, if you have a good team of developers or programmers, purchase the source code from us, modify it, and come up with your own flavor of Unix. Consider Unix as an ice cream. How ice cream has many flavors. Same way, Unix is one having many flavors. and each flavor will have number of versions. Every 2 years, every 3 years, there will be new versions that would be available. So what are the popular flavors of Linux that rule the market? Let's understand. See, the first to come was from HP Corporation, and their flavor name is HPUX. This happened in the year 1984. Same year, Mac OS was released by Apple. I hope you're aware of Mac OS. We use Mac OS, which is now called as OS X, in MacBooks or MacBook Pro and different locations of Mac hardware. Then the topmost of all was introduced by IBM, and the flavor of IBM was called as AIX, where AIX stands for Advanced Interactive Executive. This happened in the year 1986. In the year 1992, one of the very popular Unix came from Sun Microsystem, which is called as Solaris. So earlier it used to called as Sun Solaris, but back in 2010 or 11, Sun has sold itself to Oracle. So now it is called as Oracle Solaris, right? Now, if you look at all these flavors of Unix, they are nothing but Unix. Copy of Unix, you can say, or replica of Unix, you can say. They are all Unixes. One and the other are all same. They are commercialized product. Nothing is free. But apart from being commercial, there is one more thing. All these flavors require a special hardware. They are hardware dependent. That means if you want to go with HPUX, it can only run on a special HP hardware. You might be very well aware of macOS. Mac can only run on Apple's hardware. You cannot install it on any hardware of your choice. Same way, AIX can only run on IBM power systems. It cannot run on any other hardware. So as Solaris, Solaris can only run on Sun or Oracle's hardware. Right? Now this combination of software and hardware make it too much costly, right? If we speak up in Indian currency, it would be in lakhs to start with, right? Suppose I wanted to go with IBM AIX. As I told you at the beginning, I started and I worked very well with IBM AIX simultaneously. So I don't know about HP UX or Mac or Oracle, but I can definitely tell you about IBM AIX. See, in today's time, if you want to purchase an entry level IBM AIX machine, entry level is only used for testing or even less than testing environments. It cannot be used on production environment. So an entry level, very basic level kind of server will require you in Indian currency around 25 lakhs rupees. Now investing 25 lakhs rupees or at least some thousands of dollars just for testing environment would be a very expensive affair. So you can just understand if entry level is costing you that much, what would be the cost of enterprise level models? It would be very expensive. So people were really frustrated about it. They really wanted to work with Unix, but the cost involved was so high that they could not afford it. So here came a requirement for an operating system that should be similar to Unix and it should be free of cost. So keeping this in mind, an organization, FSF, Free Software Foundation. See, the name itself is telling you. Free Software Foundation used to make software that is free of cost, can be run on any operating system. Just like open source software, you might be using many open source software today. Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, VLC Media Player, many third-party softwares are there which are wonderful and they are free of cost from open source. So this organization started one movement called GNU movement. So GNU movement stands for generally not Unix movement. The idea was very clear. They wanted to make an operating system which is exact replica or copy or exactly similar to Unix, but they don't want it to call it Unix. That is the reason the movement is called as generally not Unix. Everything must be same like Unix, same command line, same security, same workability, but it should not be called as Unix. Call it whatever you want, but don't call it Unix. That was the idea behind it, right? So many big names did not join this project, but the young college going students, young programmers, they were very, very enthusiastic about it. Many people tried until a student from Helsinki University. This guy was from Sweden, attending his graduation in Helsinki University. In the summer vacation, when everybody went back to their hometown, in the summer vacation, he sat and he started to work on Linux kernel as a hobby. Slowly and steadily, he made that brilliant change that has totally took over the market of Unix in the 90s, right? So what was that guy's name and who has done that? See, the student from Helsinki University, his name is Linus Torvald. You can see at the right hand side, Linus Torvald is with a mascot called Tux. That little penguin in his hand is called as Tux. So what Linus has done, he developed a kernel. See, kernel is a very, very vital product of any operating system, right? So if you have kernel, you just need some set of softwares. And when you add the software with kernel, you'll get your operating system. So kernel was prepared by Linus Torvald and software was already there with Free Software Foundation. So what they did, they added many useful software with Linux kernel and they came up with first ever free Unix into the market. And this happened in the year 1991. Now the question was what to call this Unix. They cannot call it Unix again because Unix was proprietary of AT&T. So instead of calling it Unix, they started to call it as Linux. Why Linux? I don't have to tell you. On the name of the guy who have developed it. But Linux also have a full form. Linux stands for Linus's Unix. If you combine it together, it becomes Linux. Now, what's the benefit of Linux? Linux is open source. It carries a license called GPL, General Public License. That means you can use it, you can modify it, and you can come up with your own flavor. As I told you in the beginning, to create an operating system, you require a source code, which is a programming bundle. Now, if you go to linux.org website, you will find that source code is freely available. Simply, you have to download it, you can modify it, and you can come up with your own Linux. In fact, if Gautham IT wants, they can also come with their own Linux called Gautham Linux. There is no problem. Everyone can download, modify, and come up with your own flavor of Linux. And the most important part, apart from being free, it is hardware independent. That means you can install and run it on any platform of your choice. You can run it on a physical machine, on a virtual machine, on Dell's hardware, on Samsung's hardware, on Asus hardware, on Acer hardware, on a laptop, on a desktop, or assembled hardware. There is no restriction of hardware over here. Now guys, when you get same command line, same security, same feature, same durability, free of cost, and on a hardware of your choice, what do you expect people would do? See, Linux took over the market like storm. Slowly and steadily, it took over the complete market, and all the Unixes what we have talked about, whether it is HP UX, IBM AIX, or Solaris, they have lost their market. HP has stopped producing HP UX. They have already announced it. Solaris, as I told you, has sold itself to Oracle, and after Solaris 11 or 12, Oracle was no more interested, in fact, to reduce or to introduce new Solaris to the market. IBM fought a great battle with Linux. They tried many strategies. They brought their Linux, Power Linux, many things they tried, but it did not work out for them. And they have also seen a great downfall, and it is very much restricted to a small area in the market. So all people who are working with Unix has now moved on to Linux, and Linux took over the entire market of Unix. Still, there are few areas where Unix is there, but it is not there as it used to be. The whole area is now acquired by Linux. Now we have flavors of Linux that is available in the market. The first to come was Novell, and their product name is SUSE. It came in 1992 from Germany. Then in 1993, Debian released their Linux called Debian Linux, and one of the leading and popular Linux came in the year 1995 from USA, calling it Red Hat. Now, Red Hat used to have different options: Red Hat Linux, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and Fedora. Red Hat Linux for desktops and laptops, user-friendly. RHEL for production environment to be installed on server. Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Fedora is a kind of project. Whenever they want to release a new option in Red Hat, they release it in the form of Fedora project. So developers like you and me or other people will use it. They'll try to modify some things, or they'll try to give suggestions. If everything goes okay, that new change will be added into Red Hat. So Fedora is not an independent project or independent product. It is a separate project that is run by Red Hat itself. Now, many other operating systems are copy of Red Hat. Like one of them is CentOS. CentOS stands for Community Enterprise OS, which is exact copy of Red Hat. Whatever you have in Red Hat, you'll be getting the same thing in RHEL. The only thing is Red Hat gives you paid support. SUSE and Red Hat, they are going to give you paid support if you purchase subscription. Subscriptions are not free. Operating system will be free. You can download it, you can install it, and you can use it. There is no problem. Your operating system is never going to get expired at any point of time. But if you need regular support, regular updates, then you need to purchase subscription. The advantage of going with CentOS is it gives you time to time free updates. You don't even have to purchase any subscription. But the limitation is it does not guarantees a support to you, which only Red Hat and other paid subscription things would be giving you. Then another Linux that is a copy of Red Hat is OEL. I missed out in the slide to write it. OEL stands for Oracle Enterprise Linux, which is exact copy of Red Hat. So there might be a contract, there might be a meeting, or there might be some link up between Oracle and Red Hat, that they have a tie-up that every new Linux what Red Hat released, they share a kernel. So Oracle will modify it for their products, and they'll release it in the form of OEL, Oracle Enterprise Linux, right? And another Linux that is again depend on Red Hat is Amazon Linux. I don't know if you are aware of AWS. In AWS, you'll get a Linux from Amazon, Amazon Linux. So Amazon Linux is again based on Red Hat. So you can see that how important Red Hat is. Many important leading Linuxes are based on Red Hat. Another great and a very strong Linux that is used especially in DevOps is from Canonical Limited called Ubuntu. This happened again in the year 2004. Now these are few of the Linuxes what I have named. If we go for all the names, it is going to take too much time. Thousands and thousands of flavors of Linux are there. As I told you, everyone can come up with their own flavor of Linux. So people customize it and use it in different areas. Now let's try to talk about in which areas Linux is very useful. See, you might have heard about virtualization. What is virtualization? See, virtualization is a method of converting physical resources into logical. If I take you back in time, in early 90s, we don't used to have virtualization. So in that case, if you need two operating systems, then we used to purchase two separate physical machines. If I need 10 operating systems, I used to purchase 10 physical machines. Suppose if I need 1000 machines, 1000 operating system, so we will purchase 1000 machines, isn't it? Now just imagine how much space you need to keep 1000 physical machines, and that's not enough. You need to provide networking to 1000 machines. You need to provide electricity to 1000 machines. You need to run ACs around them so that the temperature is maintained. Just imagine the overall cost involved if you go for such a big setup. Now, to reduce the cost and very importantly, to reduce the carbon footprint, to reduce the emissions, virtualization was introduced. Now, with virtualization on a single machine, you can run multiple operating system in the form of virtual machine. So now if you need 100 operating system, you just need one high computing server. On the top of it, you can create virtual machine, and each virtual machine can have its own operating system. So to run separate 100 OS, I need just one machine. Now, what are the leading virtualization provider? Undoubtedly, number one is VMware. You have KVM, you have Citrix, you have RHEVM, you have Oracle VM. You also have Hyper-V, but I did not include Hyper-V in this list. I just included something which is dependent on Linux. So if you look at them, VMware, KVM, Citrix, RHEVM, or Oracle VM, they are all based on Linux kernel, the Linux operating system. They themselves are the operating systems. So a small operating system is used behind the scene, and the OS what they use is a Linux OS. If you log in into their command line, you will find out that it is nothing but Linux. The troubleshooting and all is done on command line. The automation is done on command line. And which command line it uses? Linux-based command line. So front end, it might be called with anything, but back end, it is dependent purely on Linux. We also have cloud computing, which is boom in the market nowadays. See, cloud computing is the group of services that is hosted on internet, so that whenever you require to do a task, you don't need to maintain a personal setup. You can borrow a setup from cloud provider, and you can host or make use of those services. In a simple thing, I can tell you that if I wanted to run an application 24 by 7, 365 days, I need to have a rigorous setup. I need to have uninterrupted power supply. I need to have uninterrupted network. I need to have a huge infrastructure, right? So all that thing maybe I cannot afford. So what I'll do, I'll take help of a cloud providers. Cloud providers like Amazon Web Services or Azure or Google Cloud, what they does, they give us the resources that we can use, and they promise us in their SLA, service level agreement, that they are going to provide us the runtime or uptime 99%, sometime 99.9%, sometime 99.119, and in few cases 100% also, so that we can tension free run our setup on cloud, and all our clients and customers can use it throughout the world. The best example of your cloud usage you might be using is Google Drive, SkyDrive, iCloud. You store your data on that and you can access it from anywhere. Same like that, we host our services, our application on this cloud, and we can access it from anywhere throughout the world. The leading cloud providers are AWS or Azure, Google Cloud, OpenStack, CloudStack, all of them are hugely dependent on Linux platform. Especially if you go to Amazon Web Services, if you just check out AWS Cloud Shell, that depends on Linux. If you go for AWS CLI, it works on Linux, and most of their applications are built and developed or dependent on Linux platform, whether it is AWS, Google, or Azure. And for your on-premise cloud, see, sometimes there are few people who does not want to use public cloud, the cloud which is developed by someone else. They want their own cloud setup. So for them, we will be having OpenStack, CloudStack, and many other things are there. These are all dependent, installed, managed on Linux environment. So again, you know that the importance of Linux is very, very high. Now, in today's time, we also have another big concept which is boom in the market, DevOps. See, DevOps is a culture, if I can ask you in a simple way. See, DevOps is not a tool, it's not a software, it's not an operating system. It is simply a culture that puts all the automation things into one pipeline. Every organization used to have operations team and development teams. There used to be a gap between development team and operation team. The coding part, the software building part used to take time, and till it reaches to operations team, it used to become outdated. Now there used to be a fight between development teams and operation teams regarding the product. To reduce that gap, DevOps, a culture has been introduced where it put all the required things of the organization in one pipeline. Development comes into that pipeline, testing will come into that pipeline, integrations will come into that pipeline, deployment will come into that pipeline, monitoring will come into that pipeline. So all will work as one team. So this reduce the communication gap, and the things will work very smooth and faster as it is automated. Now you can see in this picture there are many tools: Git, Jira, Maven, Gradle, Selenium, or Jenkins, Hudson, Dockers, Puppet, Chef, Ansible, SaltStack, Splunk. Many of them, they are all and all dependent on Linux. Now, if you want to be a DevOps engineer, you should have a good knowledge about Linux and scripting inside it. Then only you can call it yourself as a Linux administrator. So all in all, guys, in this thing, I can tell you that Linux is now become a roadmap to any IT technology. Even right now, you might having Linux in your hand or in your pocket or somewhere aside you. See, if you look at Android phones like Samsung and other comes with Android operating system. What is Android operating system? It is also a compressed version of Linux, right? There are many databases, the ruling databases like Oracle or SQL, MySQL, or Hadoop, they all uses Linux. Data mining, data analysis, there are many fields in which you will find out that Linux is very useful. There's a saying in the market that you will die in terms of technology if you don't know Linux in IT industry. If not today, then tomorrow, right? So in order to start your career in IT industry, you must have a good knowledge of Linux. And who else can teach you Linux better than Gautham IT? So you can reach us out to know the schedule when we are going to start the batches and all that thing with great detail. So this is Musab thanking you for watching this video. I hope that this video has cleared your concept in Linux, that what is Linux and in which areas it is implied and how important it is in today's market, right? Thank you so very much, guys, one and all, for visiting us. And do visit to Gotham IT's website to know more detail about all the other courses, curriculum, and plans. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to Gotham IT Solutions or Gotham Digital Learning. Now, in previous session, we have understood the introduction to Linux, that how Linux came into the picture, what was the perspective of Linux, and where Linux is standing. Now, in this session, we are going to talk about architecture of Linux. Now, before we can start with Linux, or before we learn how to install Linux, understanding architecture is the most important part. So let's begin with. Now, in this webinar, we are going to understand the architecture of Unix or Linux, or we are going to learn about file system hierarchy. So these two topics we are going to cover in today's session. So let's begin with the architecture of Unix. See, the architecture of Unix looks like this, as you see on the right hand side. The innermost layer where all your commands will be executed is called as hardware. And hardware is controlled by kernels. And to communicate with kernel, we need shells. And to communicate with shells, we use certain commands, or we, the user, who will be accessing it. Now, to make it more understandable, let me use a simple paintbrush and explain you in the better way what exactly I meant to say about the architecture. See, guys, all the commands that we run in the system, whether you are checking the date and time, or you're trying to store the data, or you're trying to play a video, or you're trying to play a music, whatever it might be, everything will be executed in the innermost layer of this architecture, which is called as hardware. Now, hardware is the innermost layer where all your commands will get executed, right? Now, how I'm telling that all commands will be executed on a hardware level? See, guys, suppose you wanted to visit a website, google.com, gothamit.com, musab.com, whatever it might be. Now, when you want to reach out any website, you take a browser. In the browser, you type the address of the website. Now that browser, with the help of your network card, whether it is a wired network or wireless network, will try to communicate with that website. So what is a network card? Isn't it a hardware? Yes, maybe you wanted to store your data on a drive. You have created a file. Where would you store your file? Now, it can be your photograph, it can be your normal file, it can be any document. Where will you store? You'll store it in a hard drive. You'll store it in a pen drive. You'll store it in a CD drive. So what is that hard drive, pen drive, and CD drive? Don't you think that it is also a hardware? Yes, you wanted to play a music. When you run a audio file, music will be produced. And from where you listen that output? From the speakers. What is that speaker? That is also a hardware? Yes. So everything what we do in the system will actually be executed in hardware layer. So all the commands, all the tasks what we execute has to be executed on the hardware layer. Now, this hardware will be controlled by another very important component of the operating system, especially Unix operating system. We call it as kernel. Now, what is kernel? See, kernel is the boss of the operating system. Everything or anything we do in the system will actually be performed by kernel. Kernel is the heart of the operating system. Think like this. If kernel is alive, OS is alive. The moment kernel fails, OS also fails. Every type of management, file management, CPU management, memory management, device management, process management, everything is handled by kernel. You think you double click and browser get opens? No, you are giving instructions to kernel and kernel is opening the browser for you. You think you are playing the music? No, you are giving instructions to kernel and kernel is performing that task for you. So everything in the system is performed by kernel, even the hardware is handled by kernel itself. Now, the problem is we, the users, will come at the end of the architecture. Now, you can say utilities or you can say users. I'll simply call it user level. Reason is utilities are also used by user. Now, we, the user, comes at the end of the architecture, and now there is a communication gap. We understand only human level languages. We don't understand binary or system level language, isn't it? And kernel only works with system or binary language. It does not understand our languages. Now, there is a communication gap. We don't understand system language and system does not understand our language. It's like we Indians, suppose for example, I'm in India and I'm an Indian, right? I don't know how to speak Chinese, Spanish, or any other foreign language. Now, if some Chinese or Japanese or Spanish or French guy is with me, I don't know his language, he don't know my language, what would happen? Can we be able to communicate? It would be very tough. So here we need someone who can convert my language to system and system language to mine. And who is that? That layer is nothing but your shell. Now, shell is an interpreter that will convert user level language to system and system level language to user. Now, we understood one thing during our introduction class that OS is a translator or converter to convert user level language to system and system to user. Not the whole OS does that. In operating system, there is a specific component which is called as shell. Shell is responsible to convert user level language to system and system level language to user, right? So what we do, we take a shell and on the type of it, we will be writing some command. Now that command will be converted into binary and provided to kernel. For example, you wanted to see date and time. So you take a shell and you will type a command. Or before that, shells are generally two types, graphical shell and command line shell. Graphical shell is the shell what you're seeing right now on our screens, right? I'm using different graphics, colors, mouse cursor is moving here and there. That is nothing but your graphical shell. And same way, we have command line shell. Even in Windows, we have command line shell. This is called a command line shell. Now on this, when I run a command, for example, I'll run a command called dir. Something will happen. I'll say CLS, something will happen. I'll say date, something will happen. So what is happening over here? I'm trying to run some command and it is getting executed, right? So we have two types of command shells. We have command line shells and we have graphical shells. Now we'll talk more about the shells in the coming classes, but in this you understand that shell is an interpreter to convert something. Now how the work happens, that is really fascinating. Let me explain you how the work will happen. User will be accessing the shell. Now on the shell, user will write some command. Maybe just you have seen, I write date command. The moment I type date command, shell will analyze whether that command is valid to continue or not. If it is invalid, there and then you'll get an error message. If it is valid, then it will convert that user-friendly thing into binary and present it to kernel. Now, kernel will then understand, okay, the user is asking me to go and find out what is the date and time. Now, where is the date and time stored? The date and time is stored on a CMOS battery. If you open your laptop DOM or your desktop DOM, you'll see on motherboard there will be a small battery attached called CMOS battery that contains your date and time. So it would go to hardware and it will ask what's the date and time. So hardware will tell this is the date and time, and kernel will revert it back to shell. In which language? In binary or system language. Now here shell will convert that incoming instructions into user-friendly English language, and we will understand what is the date and time. And all this procedure will happen in microsecond at a lightning speed. The moment you type it, within no time all this process will take place. So this is the architecture how Linux or Unix will perform, right? Fine. Let's move ahead and let's understand more important thing. I hope by now you understand the architecture of kernel or architecture of Unix very well. Now let's move ahead and let's try to understand file system hierarchy. This is also very important. See, to understand how an operating system functions, you should know where and how the OS stores the data, right? Even in Windows, if you just go, I'll take you into my laptop. Now, in my laptop, when you go to my computer, now in my computer, if I go to C drive, you see there are lots of directories available. In this, you have Windows directory. When you go to Windows directory, you'll see many subdirectories. Each subdirectory will be holding something very important. Same way in Unix or Linux, it also stores the data in different locations. So we need to understand very, very well that each directory has what importance, because tomorrow when we start working with Linux, you should be aware that which directory possess what and what is the significance of each directory. So what are we waiting for? Let's start. Linux uses single-rooted inverted tree-like file system. Now you need to understand this line. Let me explain you in a very simple way. What does this line means? Normally, guys, you might have seen a tree. If you look at the tree will be something like this. The top of the tree will come, the leaves and the branches will come at the top, and the roots of the tree will come at the bottom, isn't it? This is how normally a tree looks like. But Linux uses single-rooted inverted tree. Now let's understand. Now if you invert this tree, it would look like this. The branches, the leaves, everything will come at the bottom and the root will come at the top. So this is the meaning of that inverted tree. And it has how many roots? It says it has only single root. So Linux has a single root that comes at the top, and inside that root, the whole operating system will be there. So if you want to enter into Linux operating system or Unix operating system, you have to go through that single root that comes at the top. So root is at the top and the whole tree is at the bottom. So I hope you understood that concept now. Let's move on. So the first directory that we will face is that forward slash. So what do you mean by that forward slash? This is the top level directory. It is also called as the parent directory for all the other directories. That's the reason it is called as root directory. It is the main directory, the mother directory for the whole operating system. Like in Windows, I showed you there is a Windows folder that contains the entire operating system. So same way here also we have a mother directory that contains everything. So the whole Linux or Unix operating system will be situated in that forward slash. Now this forward slash is also called as the root directory, the topmost directory in which there will be many subdirectories that would be holding some important locations. So what are those subdirectories? Let us try to understand. Now, as we pass through the main gate, we will find out many important things inside it. So as you enter into forward slash, the next directory that you will find will be slash root. So everything will be present in that slash, and inside it you will find another directory with the name root. What is this root directory? Guys, in Linux or Unix, we have the most powerful user, which is called as root user. Like in Windows, you have administrator. Here we have a super user called root user, who is the topmost user who can do anything, who can do everything, whatever it might be available. So each user require their personal directory. Like sometimes when you work in offices or you might seen in the colleges also, we have our personal lockers where we will store our stores. I will store our things. So in the same way, here also for root, there will be a mother directory, there will be a directory, a home directory, in which root can store its personal stuff. So in slash, the first directory that you will find is root, which contains root's personal stuff. Now, no other user in the system can go into this directory. It is the property of root, and only root can go inside it, and root can store its personal stuff. It's like, guys, you're working in an office and you see there will be some important employees like your bosses, your managers, the VP. They will be getting their personal cabin in which nobody is allowed to go in their absence, like that. So here also root is the boss of the system, and root will get a personal directory where only root can go and no other fellows can go. Like that, apart from root, I may have many other users in the system. It's not possible that only one user will be there in the system. We might have many users with anyone's name. Maybe we may have a John user, we may have a Ali user, we may have a Ram user, we may have a Steve user. So there might be many users in the system, and each user required their own home directory. Every user will be given their personal directory to store their personal stuff. So where are the home directories kept for all the normal users? See, all normal users' home directories are kept in slash home. For example, you have a user called Steve. So there will be a directory in home with the name Steve for Steve. Suppose you have a user called Raghu, so you will find slash home Raghu. Suppose you have a user called Musab, so you'll find a home directory slash home Musab. So that's the same way how these things will be working, right? For all the normal users, we have one mother directory in which you will find all the other subdirectories present inside it. And each fellow will have their own directory. So let us say that this is the mother directory, which is slash home, or let's call it just home. Inside home, you will find one subdirectory for all the users that you have in the system. One for Steve, one for John, one for Raghu, one for Ali. Like that, for every user we have, there will be a home directories created. Assume, guys, the same situation what I explained you. You have an office, and when we have a general staff, we cannot provide one room to each staff. So important persons will get their personal cabins, and all the other normal employees, they will sit in a big hall, right? And in that, cubicles will be there. So each cubicle will be dedicated for one employee. So same way, here we have one parent directory with the name called home, and inside it, one subdirectory or child directory to each employee or each user whose name we have created, right? Now, again, in these directories, two people cannot view the content of each other. Suppose I have a directory for Ali user and Ram user. So Ali cannot see Ram's content and Ram cannot see Ali's content. Only Ali is allowed to go into Ali's home directory and Ram is allowed to go only in Ram directory. But root is the super user, guys. Root can go anywhere, but normal users cannot see each other's directory. Right, let's move ahead and let's continue our discussion. Then you have another directory called boot. See, as the name itself is telling you, boot is a directory that contains important bootable files which is required to boot your system. Whenever you are trying to boot your system, at the time of booting, we require some important bootable scripts, some important bootable files. So those important bootable scripts, those important bootable files will be present in /root. In fact, it also contains the kernel image that will be needed to boot your system. So all the bootable data that requires at the boot time will be kept in /boot directory. Moving forward, we have one more directory called etc. Generally, etc stands for etc. Now here it contains all the configuration files that you have in the system. Now, first of all, what exactly is a configuration file? See, we have different things in the system. We have users, you have network, you have softwares, you have applications. Each of these components will have their own settings files. I'll give you a small example. I'll open a Google Chrome browser. You see, when I open this Google Chrome browser, I kept a black theme over here. I kept many bookmarks over here. I kept my Gmail sign-in over here. Now, do you think that these are just randomly giving me the things? No, I made the changes and in some file, all these settings are saved. So that file that stores the settings of most important things of your operating system is called as configuration files. Like you have user configuration file, you have password configuration files, you have network configuration files, you have software configuration files, so many application configuration files. All type of configuration files are stored in etc folder. Then moving forward, you have USR. See, when I say USR, some people pronounce it as user. There is nothing wrong in pronouncing user, but pronouncing it user sometimes give a wrong impression in your mind. When I say user, the first thing that comes in your mind is it might contain something related to user, isn't it? But believe me, there is nothing associated to the user in this file. It contains software that you install in your system. Basically, USR stands for Unix Shareable Resources. So it does not have anything related to user. It's the default directory where all your software will get installed. Like in Windows, you have program files. Any software you install will get installed in C, program files. So in Linux, you have USR, Unix Shareable Resources. So I better recommend you to call it USR instead of user. User might confuse others and ourselves also. So we are going to pronounce it USR, full form Unix Shareable Resources. Then you have another directory called OPT. OPT stands for optional directory. What optional and for whom it is optional? See, optional directory for USR. See guys, Unix or Linux is very organized operating system. It keeps everything in a very organized manner. For example, we have two types of software. The software that is associated to OS and the software that is not associated to OS, but they are very important for our operating system and for our functioning. For example, even in Windows, you might see we have Notepad, we have Paintbrush, we have Internet Explorer. These all comes with your operating system. Now, even though I have that, but for better functionality, I might use some third-party software like Google Chrome. Google Chrome, I think, is better than Internet Explorer. It is easy for me, so I'm using Google Chrome. Or I might be using Firefox. Or I might be using some third-party softwares like Notepad++, right? So there are many things what I'll be using. So all OS software, it can be kept in USR, and all third-party software can be installed in OPT to segregate and keep the things in a wonderful way. Moving forward, you have bin. Bin stands for binary files. See, all the commands, what we run in the system, they are called as binary files. Now, bin contains those commands that can be executed by everyone in the system. These are low-level commands. What do you mean by low-level commands? The commands that can be run by everyone. They are not administrative command. So here are the commands that can be run by each and every user, like checking the date, checking the content of the file, checking the hardware architecture of the system, right? And opening the browser. These are something which are very, very low level commands that can be executed by every user in the system. Then we have sbin. What do you mean by sbin? Sbin stands for super users binary file. The super users binary files are those binary files that can only and only be executed by super user. Or you can say this is the administrative commands, the command that can only be executed by administrator, right? Like changing the network, shutting down the system, rebooting the system, installing the software. These are all the type of commands that can be executed by each and every, it cannot be executed by each and every user. Rather, it can only be executed by root or admin level user. Non-admins cannot even execute these kinds of commands. Moving forward, you have slash dev. See, slash dev contains the information about the devices that are connected, especially the hard drives, like you have hard drive, CD drive, pen drive, tape drive. So all those things will be stored in slash dev. It is very much similar to device manager. When you go to device manager in Windows, you'll find all the devices connected. So here also you have information about all the devices that are connected to your system. Then you have slash proc. See, slash proc contains all the ongoing process files. Anything, whatever you do in the system is called as a process. Even moving a cursor from one location to other is a process. And every process will have process ID. It will consume some amount of RAM. It will consume some amount of CPU and all that thing. So all the ongoing activities, processes information, CPU information, memory information, all that things will be stored in slash proc. Moving forward, we have few more directories like var. Var contains variable data like mails and logs. See, two users can exchange email. Suppose I have a user called John and Ali. Now, John wants to send a mail to Ali and Ali wants to send a mail to Ram. Now, each user requires mailbox. So where are the mailbox kept? It is kept in slash var. And also all the ongoing activities like user tried to log in into the system. Login was successful, one log will be stored. Login failed, another log will be stored. Maybe some event occur. So what happened in that event? That event will get stored in the form of log files. So all the log files that we get by the operating system will store in slash var, right? Moving forward, you have TMP directory. TMP, it contains temporary storage. See, normally what happens is whenever you are doing a task, maybe you are running an application. So that application requires some temporary place to store some data till the application is running. Now, as soon as you close the application, that data will be removed. So for temporary period of time, we need a place to store some data. So that place where applications, software, and operating system can keep their data for a small period of time is TMP. We don't keep anything inside it. It is generally used by application, software, and operating system to store its data inside it, right? Moving forward, we have MNT. MNT is a default mount point for any partition. Now we have to first study what is file system, what is partition, and there we will understand what is MNT. Now in a simple way, you can just understand that MNT is a place where all hard disk, internal hard disk can be accessed. Suppose you have a laptop or a desktop, inside it you have a hard drive. Now if you want to see how many hard drives are there, how many partitions are there, you can go to MNT and you can access the data in your pen drive, not in the pen drive, in your hard drive and the partitions inside it. Now we also have removable media. See, sometimes we use internal drives and sometimes we use removable media. What is removable media? Like pen drive, CD drive, sometimes you connect and sometimes you remove. So if you have a removable devices connected to your system, removable devices can be accessed from slash media. Internal drives can be accessed from MNT and external drive can be accessed through slash media. Now, the last directory what we are going to talk about is lib. Lib contains library files. See guys, we studied in our previous lecture that normally Unix and Linux kernel is designed on C language. Even the softwares what we use, they are designed in different languages like C language, Java, Python. Now each language has its own set of libraries. Without these library objects, it is very difficult for the software to function. So all set of programming libraries, whether it is Java, whether it is Python, whether it is C, C++, whatever it might be, all those libraries are going to get installed in lib. We are not going to directly deal with that, but any software, if it requires a library, that would be present in slash lib. When you are installing a software, some libraries will get installed and those libraries will be kept in slash lib. Now, very quickly, guys, we'll go back and we'll start again from the beginning of this file system hierarchy. The topmost directory is slash that contains everything inside your operating system. Slash root is the home directory for the boss of the system, root user, the topmost user, the super user, the administrative user. All normal users home directory will be created in slash home. How many other users you have other than root? Each user will have a home directory in slash home. Suppose you have a user called Musab, so you'll find slash home Musab. You have a user called Ravinder, so you'll be having slash home Ravinder. You have a user called John, so you'll find slash home John, like that. Then you have slash boot that contains bootable files, kernel images that is required to boot your operating system. You have etc that contains all the configuration files of the system, whether it is user config, network config, software config, or any other configuration in the system. USR, also pronounced as user, but better to pronounce it USR, which stands for Unix Shareable Resources. USR contains software. It's the default directory where all your software is installed. Usually OS related or OS associated software. Then you have OPT. OPT is an optional directory that contains third-party softwares, right? Moving forward, we have bin that contains the command that can be executed by all normal users. Whatever normal users can be able to execute, that will available over there. It can be a date command, it can be listing the files, listing the directory, seeing the properties, opening the browser, all that. Now, xbin contains superuser's binary that contains the command that can only be executed by superuser. It's the administrative commands, right? Like shutting down the system, restarting the system, installing the software, changing the network, like that. Slash dev contains all the devices information that is connected to your system. Proc contains all the ongoing processes information like Task Manager in Windows. Slash var contains variable data like mails of the users and events logs. TMP is a temporary place provided for software, application, and operating system to keep some temporary stuff for a short period of time and remove it whenever their work is over. MNT is a default location from where you can access internal drives connected to your system. The removable media, pen drive, CD drive, tape drive can be accessed through slash media. And all the libraries that are required for your software to function properly will be kept in slash lib. So these are the architecture and file system hierarchy of the Linux, which is really important for us to understand before we can actually go into Linux. Thank you very much, guys, for joining this session. I'll be seeing you in the next session of this series. Have a nice day. See you. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening as per your locations. And welcome to one more session on Red Hat or CentOS Linux series. Now, in this chapter, we are going to cover up how you can install Red Hat or CentOS or Rocky Linux on your laptop, desktop, or any given platform. The installation method is going to be same. My name is Musab, and I'll be your trainer towards this course. So let's begin with. In this webinar, we are going to talk about the prerequisite of installing RHEL 7 and 8. What is the hardware compatibility list, the partition requirement, and how we are going to install Red Hat or CentOS. Now, before we can go for installing any operating system, we need to check the hardware requirement. That is really, really important. Even if you are installing a small piece of software, you know you have to check the requirement of the hardware. So in this case also, we are going to check out what are the requirements. Now, there are two types of requirement. One is minimum requirement and the other one is recommended requirement. Before I can comes to minimum and recommended, let me talk about that Red Hat or CentOS 7 or 8. It comes only in 64-bit architecture. Guys, we have CPUs with two types of architecture, 32-bit and 64-bit. To support 32-bit OS, we'll go with 32-bit software. And to work with 64-bit architecture, we'll go with 64-bit software. So every time, including Windows also, we have 32 and 64 both series. But since 64-bit is more common now, 32-bit has become obsolete and outdated, right? So Red Hat or CentOS have decided only to keep 64-bit version available. No 32-bit version will be there. We'll go to their websites and we'll check whether 32-bit is available or not. Now let's come back to the topic. What is the minimum and recommended requirement to go with installation? See, to install Red Hat or CentOS Linux or in fact Rocky Linux, you require minimum Intel or AMD dual core processor. See, minimum is something which you have to add here. You should not go less than minimum requirement, right? Although even if you go less than minimum, sometimes installation will happen, but you may not get required performance. So if you want to have a good performance, then you should go for a minimum requirement. But if you are looking for optimum and best results, then you have to follow recommended requirements. Okay, then we need quad core processor in case you are using recommended requirement. So for recommended requirement, we need quad core processor. See, dual core processor means physically it looks like one, but virtually it can work like two processor. Same way when it comes to quad core processor, physically it looks like one, but logically it can perform like four processor. The speed would be very high. And when it comes to RAM, you need minimum 4 GB RAM. In fact, in our setup, if we go with 2 GB also, that's fine. But just for guidelines what Red Hat has issued, 4 GB should be minimum and recommended should be at least 16 GB RAM. When it comes to hard drive, you have to go with 25 GB hard disk space and recommended is to have 50 GB hard disk space for perfect graphical installation. Now, keeping these things in your mind, you can proceed. And we also require a network card for communication. Now, moving forward, we also need to create three partitions during installation. Like if you have installed Windows, Windows can be installed with a single partition, C drive, isn't it? Same way, when we go for Linux, especially Red Hat, CentOS, or many of the Linuxes, we require to create three partitions. In the previous video, we have discussed all the important directories or file systems that is there in Linux operating system. So here we need three important partitions to be created during installation. One is the slash, which is called as root file system or root partition. As you know, that root is the most important partition in the operating system that contains the entire operating system. So we have to give maximum available space. Minimum 15 to 20 GB could be a great idea. But if you have a big space, then at least 60 to 70% of space we will dedicate to root. Then the next partition what we have to create is boot. See, boot we should go for 1 GB. You can go beyond 1 GB, but don't go less than 1 GB as boot require at least 1 GB of capacity. Then we have a partition called swap. See, to support RAM, we require a partition to be created that would be called as swap. Sometimes your RAM may be filled up and new processes may not be start. So in that case, inactive processes from RAM will be shifted to swap to free up your swap RAM. So swap is required to support your RAM by moving inactive processes from RAM. And it is really important. So what should be the size of swap? The size of swap should be twice of RAM. To know more about swap, you can also refer to the swap video of our series in which we have explained you in a great detail how and what swap will do. So anyway, during installation, we are required to create these three partitions. Now let me show you how we are going to go for this installation, right? First of all, you need to download Oracle Virtualbox. So in this video, I'm going to use Oracle Virtualbox, which is free of cost to download as it is an open source. If you want, you can also use VMware Workstation. But as you know, VMware Workstation is a licensed product, so you need to purchase the license in order to use it. So Oracle Virtualbox is free, so I'm going to use it. Go to download Oracle Virtualbox and download. So if you are using it on a Windows laptop, go with Windows. If you're going with Mac OS, then you can go for OS X. If you want to install it on a Ubuntu or other Linuxes, if you're already having that, then you can use that also. So in my case, I'll be going for Windows host. So you can just click over here and the software will get download. Once the software is download, it's pretty simple. You know how we install anything on Windows. You just need to say click, 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 and the things would get installed. So simply you have to download it and you have to say next, 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 and this thing would be completed. So I don't really want it to install it, as in my case, it is already installed, right? Let me minimize this window. Now, if I show you how Oracle VirtualBox will look like after installation, you see this is the way it will look like. Now, obviously, you won't find Ansible 8 a.m., 7 p.m. Those are the virtual machines I have already created for my other video series and other classes. So you may find just a window like that, right? So in that, you have to create a virtual machine and you have to deploy your operating system. Now, one more thing you have to configure in your laptop is virtualization support. See, in order to use this virtualization software, we need to enable VT, virtualization technology. Just go to Task Manager, go under Performance, and here you need to find out virtualization is enabled or not. Mostly, when you purchase a laptop, you will find that this virtualization support will be disabled. So if you want to enable it, how to enable it? You need to go into BIOS settings. See, before that, you can just go to System Info, and you can find out what is the laptop you're using. So in my case, it is HP ZBook Studio G3, or maybe you are using a Dell laptop, or you are using an Asus laptop, or you are using Acer laptop, whatever it might be. Just find out the model and Google it out. Suppose I have Lenovo IdeaPad. So I'll just type how to enable virtualization in Lenovo IdeaPad. So you see, it will take you to Lenovo's website, in which you will find detailed steps. Like it says, while the system boots, you have to press F1 key. It will take you into BIOS settings, go into CPU settings or advanced settings, and you will find Intel virtualization technology, which is disabled. You have to enable it. Or in the second screen, it would be like this. Third screen, it would be like this, right? So you can just find out how to enable virtualization. So please make sure that virtualization is enabled. Now, the most important part, how to download the ISO image or the operating system. If you want to download the operating system like Red Hat, then you can go for developers.redhat.com. Now, in this, you have to register yourself, right? And if you register, then you will be able to log in. So in my case, I'm already registered. I'll simply go and log in. Let me type my username and password. Okay, so here you go. I see I have logged in. Now, once I have logged in over here, you can go to products. In products, you can go for Red Hat Enterprise Linux. It might show you the latest version, Red Hat 9, but better we'll go with the older version, Red Hat 8.6 or 8.5, which is a stable version. 9 is yet to be utilized in the market. The latest what we are using is 8.5 or 8.6. So you can just download the DVD ISO image. You can download like this the Red Hat operating system. Now, if you don't really wanted to make any account or something, then you can go for CentOS.org. In CentOS.org, you can go for download. In download, you see we have CentOS Linux and CentOS OS Stream. Basically, after Red Hat 7. Whatever versions that are coming, they are coming in the form of OS stream. So you just need to go to CentOS stream, and over here you can download the 9 version or you can download the 8 version. So I'm going with 8 as I told you. Click on 64-bit. See, there is no 32-bit architecture available. So we just need to go to x86. Now click into any of this link, and from here you just need to download CentOS Stream 64-bit dvd1.iso. That's enough. Either that one or this one, doesn't matter. Any one of them you have to click and download it. Now one more thing is there, Rocky Linux. So you can just go to rockylinux.org, and Rocky is too simple to download. You can just click on download 8.6 and it would get downloaded. Now, once the image is downloaded and the virtual machine is completed, let's come back and create our new virtual machine. Right now, what I'm going to do, I'll just explain you with a simple diagram so that you know what exactly we are doing. Just assume that this is my laptop. Now on the laptop, I have an operating system installed, that is Windows 10 or 11, or it can be Mac OS, or it can be any other Linux, let's say any one of them. Now on the top of it, I'm going to install virtualization software. Like in my case, I have installed Oracle Virtualbox, or you can go for VMware Workstation. Anything that you like, you can go for it and you can deploy it. So what we did, we enabled virtualization support in BIOS, and then we have installed Oracle Virtualbox. Now on the top of Oracle Virtualbox, we are going to create virtual machine. Now a virtual machine is a logical representation of a physical machine, like how a physical machine will have RAM, CPU, network card. Same way, here we are going to give it virtual RAM, virtual CPU, virtual hard disk, virtual network card. So it behaves as if it is an independent physical machine, but although it is just a logical segregation of resources, right? So we'll take a machine, and on the top of it, we are going to give it virtual CPU, virtual RAM, virtual hard disk, virtual network card, and all that thing. Now on the top of it, I can install any operating system. Maybe I can install RHEL, I can install CentOS, I can install Rocky Linux, I can install Ubuntu, whichever you want, you can go for it and you can deploy. So on a single physical machine, you can create many virtual machines, and parallelly, you can run multiple virtual machines. So that's the power of virtualization. So exactly the same thing we are going to do. On the top of Windows machine, I install Oracle VirtualBox. Now on the top of it, we are going to create a new virtual machine. So on the right hand side, you can see there is a new option. Click on that. Now over here, you can give the name. Just give me a moment, guys. I'll just continue in a minute. Before that, I just wanted to make some small changes that makes our understanding very better. So excuse me. All right. Perfect. Let's continue again. Sorry for that gap. Let's click on new. It asks you to give it some name. Now it's up to you what name you wanted to call your virtual machine. It's your machine. You can name it anything. In my case, I'm going to call it CentOS 55. For example, my choice name, whatever I like. The moment I have given CentOS, automatically the type of Linux, type of OS it has selected is Linux, and the version it has took Red Hat. Although there are many flavors of Linux, so you can choose any of them, whatever you are installing. If you're going with CentOS, or you're going with Red Hat, or you're going with Rocky Linux, better to select Red Hat 64-bit option only. So it will customize the requirement according to Red Hat. Let's go for next. The next thing it is going to ask you is to give the RAM. How much RAM would you like to associate to it? So I'm going to say give it a RAM at least 2 GB. See, minimum RAM requirement says that we should have at least 4 GB, but it is better you give 2 GB because in this case we are not going to install any heavy applications. We are not going to install uh, databases or something. So with 2 GB, I can suffice it. So either you can increase it from here or just click a little bit ahead of the arrow and you'll get the things increase. So let me decrease it to 2048 MB. That is 2 GB RAM. Click on next. It would ask you, would you like to create a virtual hard disk now? Of course, if I don't give a virtual hard disk, where it is going to install the OS? So I'll say yes, create a virtual hard disk now. What type? It doesn't matter. Any choice you can go for it. I'm keeping it VDI. Let's click on next. Would you like to dynamically allocated or fixed? Again, we don't have to worry. Let's keep it dynamically allocated. Now it's asking you what should be the size of this hard drive. So you can give anything above 25 GB for a perfect installation. So let us say that I wanted to give it around 30 GB. I have good space in my laptop, so assigning 30 GB is fine for me. If you want, you can go beyond 30 GB also. At least 20 GB you give and maximum whatever you want. Now I'll click on create. See, the moment I click on create, your virtual machine is created. Just imagine if there is no virtualization and you want to purchase a physical machine, how much time will be wasted? You need to go to a shop, you need to tell the requirement. According to that, either an assembled system will be given, or if you're assembling, then lots of components need to fix and then the machine will be ready. But in here, thanks to virtualization, within just couple of seconds, your virtual machine is ready. Now, if it is a physical machine, you can go to BIOS settings at the time of booting and you can make necessary changes. But as this is virtual machine, it does not have BIOS settings, it has VM settings. So let me go to settings. Now this, you can make the changes in the configuration as per your requirement. So you can just come to system, we'll go to processor. See, when it comes to requirement, the processor requirement is at least dual core or quad core, 2 core or 4 core. So in this case, I'm only giving 1 core processor. Maybe performance may not be that good. So I'll increase it to 2 core. You need to come into the settings, go to system and go to processor and make it 2 cores. Then we will come to motherboard. In motherboard, you need to go and make the changes in the boot order. Even though if you don't change the order, that's fine. First, it will try to boot with floppy. If floppy is not connected, it will try to boot with CD or DVD. If it is also not there, it will be going with hard drive. Now, maybe I don't like floppy. Let me unselect it. Seriously, are we using floppy anymore? So I'll remove it from the list and I'll put it down the order. No cost of requirement with floppy. Now I'm telling boot with DVD. If DVD is not connected, go with hard drive. Now, do not worry about if your laptop is not having any DVD. Many people get confused that on my laptop, there is no DVD drive. Now, how come it is going to use the DVD? Remember, this is a virtual machine. Now we can feed virtual machine anything virtual. Although physically I don't have a DVD drive, but I will illusionate my virtual machine that you have a DVD. So it doesn't matter physically if you don't have a DVD. We are just going to illusionate. We are just going to make VM believe that there is a DVD. Now, during installation, there is a chance that your mouse cursor may not work properly. So just change that PS2 to USB tablet or USB multi-touch, anything you like. So we came into processor, increase the processor, we set the boot order, and we have changed the mouse type to USB tablet. Now, as you told to boot with DVD, now don't you want to feed the ISO image what you have downloaded to this virtual machine? Yes. So next thing you're going to do is come to storage. Now in storage, it is showing you the 30 GB hard disk what you have given, whereas the DVD, it says there is a virtual DVD connected, but it is empty. So this DVD, you need to insert the ISO image. Just assume for a moment, if you have a physical DVD drive, you will click on the DVD button, the tray will come out, you'll put the DVD and close the tray, right? Same thing, here this DVD is empty. I'll go and click on that DVD button. It's like you're pressing the DVD button and now the tray will come out. So just imagine, it's not literally going to happen. I'm just telling that this virtual DVD is empty. Now I need to connect that image of Red Hat or Rocky or CentOS, what we have downloaded from internet, so that it can boot with that. So I'll be going with that DVD button. I'll say choose a disk file. Now, when you say choose a disk file, it will browse where you might have downloaded it. So I'll go into the folder where I have downloaded it. And here I have CentOS or Rocky, whichever you want. I'll be going with CentOS. Now it's like the tray is closed. So here, this is how virtually I'm going to connect to my DVD. All right, fine. Now, let's say, okay, we also need to set up network, but I'll come back to network later. Let me say, okay. Now, all your virtual machine is set to boot with CentOS DVD. So let's power on the virtual machine. To power on the virtual machine, you can right click and say start, normal start. Or the most simplest way I like, double click on the virtual machine and the VM gets powered on. As simple as that. Let's give it a while so that it can power on, and then we'll follow the installation steps. Here we go. Let me make it bigger for viewable. So I'll click on view and I'll go for scaled mode. Now let me just maximize it. All right. So over here, you can see it is giving you some option and some countdown is going on at the bottom. Now, if I want to control the virtual machine, I need to click anywhere inside the virtual machine and my mouse cursor will go inside virtual machine. Now, if I use up arrow, down arrow, first of all, observe the countdown is stopped. Now you can go up or down, the mouse cursor is moving. See, your mouse is now stuck inside the virtual machine. You cannot use it outside of virtual machine. Maybe I want to minimize it and I want to check some other details in my PPT. So you see your mouse cursor is stuck. It is not coming out of virtual machine. How to release the mouse cursor from that virtual machine? Look at your keyboard. If you have a keyboard in front of you, if you're watching this video on your laptop or desktop, you can see at the keyboard, you have right control key. On the right hand side, there is a control key button. In Oracle VirtualBox, it is called as host key. So click on that control key on the right hand side and your mouse cursor will be released and you can use it outside of virtual machine. So if you want to capture the virtual machine, click inside virtual machine and you are inside virtual machine. Now mouse cursor keyboard will work inside VM. If you want to release the mouse cursor, click on right hand side control key and your mouse cursor will come out so that you can use outside of VM. So now you won't be having confusion. There are some options: install CentOS, test the media and install CentOS. See, Test the media, we'll spend another 5 to 6 minutes in testing the media, it is fine or not, and then installation will begin. So I don't want to waste my time to wait. I'll go with option number one and hit enter. When you hit enter, the DVD will start booting with Red Hat image or CentOS image or Rocky image or even Oracle Linux. So Oracle Linux is also same. If you want to download Oracle Linux, you have to go to Oracle website, Oracle Linux website, oraclelinux.org, and from there also you can download it. So installation of Oracle Linux, CentOS, Red Hat, or Rocky Linux is almost the same. Now we need to wait till the installation screen gets activated. It's a little time-taking procedure. Once it's completes, a beautiful graphical screen will be available where we will follow the instructions and will complete the installation. Here we go. So it is asking us which language do you want to use during installation. If you see, there is a huge list of languages that might be available over here if you want to go with any one of them. Too many languages are there throughout the world, whatever might be utilized. So I don't really wanted to use all those. I just wanted to go with a simple English. Now with English, according to your region, so I'm in India, I'll go with English India so that the currency is set to my country. And anything I want, I would go to Indian website, CentOS with respect to India, Red Hat with respect to India, like that. You can select as per your location. Let me click on continue. So we need to select the language and then we need to say continue. Now over here, you see so many options are available, what you can use, but we'll start with one after the other. You see in a keyboard, you will find out that it would be Indian English with respect to rupee, the currency, right? So if we are going with subscription, especially on Red Hat, it would charge us in rupees. Language will be English, and time and date is selected to as per New York. I'm not in New York, neither this machine is in New York. So I am setting up this machine with respect to India, for example. So I need the date and time to be with Indian Standard Time. Let's click on time and date. And over here, you can see that lots of regions that are available. If you select a region, in that region, whatever countries will be there, you'll come across that. Or you can simply rotate your mouse in the globe and click on your country. Automatically, it is going to select. For India, the region is Asia, Kolkata. That's perfect. I don't want to make any other changes. If you want, you can change the format to AM and PM. That's fine. Let me go for done. Next thing is installation source. See, basically you can get installation source from many things, but I'm trying to install through DVD and that's fine for me. Now, what software would you like to install? If I click on software selection, you see so many options are available. Server with GUI, just a server, minimal install, workstation, custom operating system, many. Out of all, the best is server with GUI. It is going to install complete enterprise Linux edition that is suitable for server environment with GUI support. Almost 14 to 1500 software or packages are going to install when you select it. If you don't like graphics, you only and only want to work with command line, then go with server. This will not install any kind of graphic, but complete enterprise edition with command line. I want to go with GUI. If you're installing it on the laptop, desktop, user-friendly, then you can go for workstation. I'm going with server with GUI for best result. Now, in addition to 1400 packages, if you need more, then you can select any additional package that you want. I don't really want it to go for any additional package. Let me click on done. So I made my selection that I want to install complete server edition in GUI mode. Then we'll go for installation destination. So in installation destination, I want 3 partitions to be available. So I'll go for installation destination. In destination, it shows that there is one hard drive, what we have given 30 GB, and here it is selected, do automatic partitioning. I don't really want it to go for automatic partition. I want to do custom partitions. So I'll be telling go with custom partitions. Done, because I wanted to do partitioning on my own. So I want to go with custom. If you go with automatic, entire 30 GB will be automatically created with partition. I just want you to learn the detailed way of installation with custom partitioning. So let's click on done. Now it shows that the installation method to use is LVM. We don't know what is LVM. In the coming videos, we may also see LVMs. So then you'll understand what is LVM. So not to confuse you, I'll go with simple, normal, standard, regular partition. Do not select encrypt my data because we also need to understand what is encryption later. Let me click on plus to add a partition, minus to remove existing partition. So let's click on plus. In this, you will find all the supported partitions that you can install. So I'm going with root, then I'll create boot, then I'll create swap. Do not require to create all those things, just go with 3. So I'll go for slash, and what size would you like to give for root? At least 50 to 60% available space would be better. Total capacity is 30 GB and I would like to give 20 GB. So I'll say associate 20 GB to it. Now how to say GB? Units, what we can use is K for KIB, M for MIB, and G for GIB, gigabyte or gigabyte, whatever you say. So I'll say add mount point. Mount point is nothing but the partition. So you see our first partition will be created with 20 GB capacity and I'm still remaining with 10 GB. Let me click on plus again. This time I'll be going with boot. Now boot, we prefer to create 1 GB. So let's say add mount point. Very simple stuff. Then one last time we'll click on plus and this time I'll go for swap. You remember we have given RAM 2 GB and swap should be double of that size. So if RAM is 2 GB, the swap I'll preferably give is 4 GB. So you see our 3 partitions, root, boot, and swap are completed. And we are still remaining with 5 GB that we can use for creating our own custom partitions, right? But I'm okay with that. I'll leave 5 GB and I'll use it later for creating more partitions using fdisk or parted utilities. It's fantastic to work with. So let's click on done. And over here, it is going to ask you that these are the partitions what we are going to create. Do you accept the change? I'll say, yes. So let's accept it. Then we have KDUM. Let's not touch it. It's enabled. Keep it enabled. If you don't want it, you can click and uncheck it, but do not do that. KDUM will capture the information why system crash. Suddenly, if the system crash, to know the reason of crash, KDump is required. So do not disable it. Keep it enabled. Now, the most important thing is network and hostname. See, we want to work with network. I want to work over the network. If I want to communicate to the external world, I need network. If I want to communicate to my internal machines from one VM to other VM, I need network. Network is very, very essential. So we'll click on network and host name. First of all, I'm going to assign some useful name to it, like I'm going to call it M CentOS 55. You can call it whatever you want to call it. It's your machine, your name. Now we have one Ethernet adapter, and every Ethernet adapter requires an IP address. Now, IP address is a unique identity that is given to every machine, so that with which it can communicate to others and others can communicate to it. It's like you have a beautiful mobile you have purchased. Now, if you don't have a SIM card and a number, you cannot make calls to others and others cannot call you. So in both cases, you need a valid mobile phone number or SIM card. So here also we use IP addressing in order to have perfect communication. We will use as of now one adapter for internal communication. In the next video, I'm going to add one more Ethernet adapter to connect to internet. So as of now, I don't want to make our installation complicated, so I have just used a single Ethernet adapter. In the next video, you will see that I'm going to assign one more Ethernet adapter and I'm going to use it for external communication. So let's click on configure. Please do not forget to go to General and say Connect automatically. If you don't select it, every time the system restart, your adapter will be down. You have to manually activate the adapter. So first thing, come to General and select Connect automatically. Then go to IPv4 settings. In here, you need to change that automatic mode to manual. Come to IPv4, change it to manual, and assign an IP address. So here, as this is my test environment, I can choose any IP address of my choice. If you know IP addressing, you can also use any IP address. So in my case, I'll be using an IP, as I know it's a free one, 192.168.10.55. Then I'll press tab key. When I press a tab key, it will take to netmask. It is taking 24, that's fine, do not change it. Now I'll save it. See, still the IP address is not displayed because your adapter is disconnected. After assigning the IP, you need to activate the adapter. So once you activate, you see the IP address is displayed. Now, every time I want to connect to this machine, this is the number I'm going to use. So remember this number, make a note of it. Now, how can I test it whether it is reachable or not? First of all, I'll click on right side control key to come out of virtual machine. Now I'll use Windows and R button and I'm going to do a ping test. I'll say 192.168.10.55. So ping is a test with which two machines will check each other they are reachable or not. So when I say ping and the IP address, it must ping and give me the result. But you see there is no result. It might say destination host not reachable. See, this is the error you will get because you have not yet set up Oracle VirtualBox networking properly. So first we will come back to our Oracle VirtualBox manager. I'll go to File. In File, I'll go to Host Network Manager. In Host Network Manager, you might view something like this. Click on Properties, and here change the IP address. Observe the IP is 172 something something, but the machine IP what we have assigned is 192.168.10 series. So if you observe here, the series I used is 192.168.10 series, and whereas the IP what you see in Oracle VirtualBox is having a different series. This is the reason the communication is not happening. This is like my laptop IP, and that is like my VM IP. So both IPs should be in the same range, not same, but in the same range. That is 192.168.10. Now here the last two digits will be different. So there I have used 55. Here I should not use 55, something else. So I might be using 10.2. 10.2 is my laptop IP and 10.55 is my virtual machine IP. So this is the first change what I have to do. Then say yes to confirm. Close this box. So our first changes happen. Still the communication will not establish. Next thing is go to settings. In settings, go to network. Now over here you see it has selected NAT. Just change that option to host only adapter and say OK. Now you need to give it some time till the settings are applied and communication established. So let's give it some 30-35 seconds to complete that process and give you this IP pinging. So as you can see, the IP has started to work. That means every time I want to connect this new machine with IP address, I just need to use this IP from my Windows machine and I can connect. So ping test is successful and networking is successful. So let's come back to VM and say done. Do not go to security policy, ignore it. Let's go to root password. See, in Linux, we have an administrator which is called as root. So I'll go to root password and let me assign some password. You can assign any strong password, but please do not forget. Maybe I'll use a simple password, Red Hat, REDHAT, more second time Red Hat. So it says that the password is very simple what I have given. If I want to continue, I need to click 2 times on done. So I'll say done once and done twice. Same way, it's asking me, would you like to add one more user apart from this fellow? I'll say yes, maybe I need it. So I'll go to user creation, give any name, whatever name you like. In my case, I'm calling it my user. You can call it whatever you want. Then the password. I'm going to give a very small password just for the sake of completion. 2 times I need to click on done. Done one, done two. That's it. All the customs, all the rituals are completed, and now we can begin the installation. So let me click on begin installation. Now from here, it is going to take around 20 minutes to complete this installation. So I don't want you to wait for 20 minutes watching this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause the video and we'll rejoin once the installation is completed.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay guys, so here you see that the installation is successfully completed and now it is asking us to reboot the system. So let's click on reboot. For the first time when the system boots up, it might ask us to accept the license agreement, and then we are done with the installation. So this is how the system looks at the time of booting. And here you go. You have to accept the license and done. Let's finish the configuration and you're done. Now, if you want to log in and check how your OS will look like, it would give you an option here. You can log in as a normal user, or you can log in as a super user, that is root. So if you want to log in as a normal user, click here and continue. If you want to log in as a root user, click on not listed, give the username and give the password. Let me hit enter. And here it is going to take us into the graphical session. So this is how we can log in and we can check the details about your Linux operating system. Now, if we don't want to use it anymore, you can just, okay, let's finish it off, these things. Let's say next, 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 and finish this thing. One more message might appear, just close it. Now, I just want to shut down it. So I'll click on that down arrow and power off the machine. Yes, I want to power it off. So that is it, guys, for Red Hat, CentOS, and other Linux's operating system installation. Hope you have enjoyed it learning. So in this video, only this much. Again, we'll meet up again tomorrow for another video. And in that, we might continue with rest of the setup after the installation, and we'll start working with Linux command line. Thank you very much, guys, for joining this video. Have a nice day. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, as per your time zones, your region, wherever across the world you are watching this video. So, guys, in the previous class or previous video, we have seen how to install Linux, especially Red Hat or CentOS or any other familiar Red Hat related operating system. Now, today I'm going to show you the first part in this series where we are going to learn the command lines, that how we have to use Linux in the command line. So here I have logged in into my uh, Linux operating system. This is how, when you connect through command line, it is going to look like. So first, we are going to understand few of the basic commands. The idea to view this particular thing here in this webinar is to learn all these topics: creating, copying, moving, deleting files, VI editor, symbolic link, regular expression, filter commands, input output redirectors, find command, file permissions, all those things step by step we are going to view. Now, moving forward, the first command, what I wanted to show you, that how you can find out what is the date and time going on in the system. So in Unix or Linux, you can use a command date, which will tell you what is the date and time going on in the system. Same way, you can run cal command to view the calendar, which will display current month's calendar. Let us say you wanted to view complete year's calendar. Then you can say cal 2022 2022. So this is going to show you 2022 calendar. In fact, if you wanted to view next year's calendar, see, as you see on the screen, there is lots of data appeared on the screen. Now I would like to clear the screen. To clear the screen, you can use clear command and hit enter. If you don't want it to use the command, there is a shortcut to clear the screen, which is Control plus L. Whenever you press Control plus L, it is going to clear the screen. So suppose I'll want to see 2023 calendar. So when I say Cal 2023, it is going to display 2023's calendar. So you can view 1 year ahead, you can view many years back, many years forward, any year's calendar you want, you can view by using cal command. Now, the next command, what we are going to work on is who am I? See, who am I will allow you to know with which user you have logged in to the system. See, I have logged in as a root user. So whenever you log in as some user, you will be landing into that user's home directory. Now, if you want to check in which directory you are, you can use one more command called pwd. PWD stands for Print Working Directory. People call it Present Working Directory also. It's fine. You can call it Present Working Directory also, but actually it is Print Working Directory. When I hit enter, it shows you that you are in the home directory of root. See, whenever a user login into the system, suppose I have a user, my user, and if I log in as my user, you see who am I? I'm my user. And if you check PWD, it tells you that you are in the home directory of that user. So whenever you log in as some user, automatically you will be landing into that user's home directory, right? Every user will have a home directory and we will be landing into that user's home directory. Now, inside this directory, if you wanted to view what is the content, maybe I wanted to view how many files are there inside it, how many directories are there inside it, whatever the things are there, I want to check the content of this directory. To view the content of this directory, you can say ls. When you run ls, it is going to display all the files, all the directories, whatever is present inside it. Now, guys, how could you know which one is a file and which one is a directory, right? Now, here we may have little confusions. To clear that confusion, there is some beautiful color coding that is used by Linux. The objects that are appearing in black color, these are files. Something which is appearing in blue color, these are directories. So color coding is used very nicely in Linux environment, which will help us to know which one is file and which one is directory. But guys, there are few Linuxes who never ever uses color coding, right? In fact, if you go for IBM AIX, IBM AIX is a Unix which never use any color coding. Everything will be appeared in black color or white color. Then what would I deduce from that? Shall I think that everything is a file? No. See, in that case, you can view ls space hyphen L. See, every command has some arguments. So you can run ls followed by the options or arguments. So ls hyphen L will show you the file output in detail. When I hit enter, it displays the detail about the file. Now here, how can I know which one is file and which one is directory without color coding? So you see, if the object is starting with a hyphen, or if it is starting with a dash, that means it's a normal file. If the object is starting with letter D, that means it is a directory. Like that, there are so many other files also which is available. If the object start with dash, it's a normal file. If it is starting with a D, it's a directory. If it is starting with L, it's a link file, shortcut file. If it is starting with B, it's a block special file like hard disk, floppy disk, etc. And C represents character special file like keyboard, mouse, monitor, and all. See, Linux stores everything in the form of file. For us, it might be hard drive, but for Linux, it's a block special file. For us, it might be keyboard, mouse, monitor. For it, it is a character special file. So Linux uses or stores everything in the form of file. Anyway, now let us say that I don't want it to view all the files detail. Maybe out of all, there is a file git file. I only want to see the detail about git file. So how can I view the detail about only one file? You can say ls-l followed by the file name. When you run this command, it displays individual file detail. Maybe I'm not interested to see file details. I wanted to view directory details. Basically, what's a directory, guys? See, directory is collection of objects. Whenever you wanted to organizedly or segregatively want to keep the data, then we create a folder or a directory. Some people call it folder, some people call it directory. In our case, we are going to call it directory. So we make different directories to organize your data. Like I have audio songs, so I'll create one directory and keep those into them. Suppose I'm having some video files, so I'll keep another folder with the name video where I'll store all the videos, documents, so many folders you can create. So here the blue color one are your directory. Suppose I'm interested to see the detail only about my dir. How can I view the details about a specific directory? To view the details about a directory, I'll go with the command ls-ld followed by the directory name. So this is going to show me the details about the directory, like what directory I have and its detail. So if it is a file, ls-l and the file name, ls-ld and the directory name. If you use ls-l on a directory, instead of showing you what is the details of the directory, it will start showing you the contents present inside the directory. So ls-l on a file will give you file details. ls-l on the directory will display the contents available inside the directory. If you are not interested to view content, you can say ls-ld and the directory name. This is going to display the properties of the directory. So normally the first thing in the object is the type of file. Then the file access permission. Who can access this file in which mode? That details you can check. Then this number 7, what you see here on a directory is the contents available inside it. And on a file, the same thing represents how many links or the shortcuts available for that file. Then the first name mentioned here is the username or owner name or creator name. The one who creates the file will be called as the owner of the file. So who owns this file? Root user. And the second name, what is available over here is a group name. So here it is telling you which group owns it. See, every file will be owned by a user or a group. So here it is telling you which user is owning it and which group is owning it. Then what is the size of the file in bytes? And you can go for the date and time when it was created, followed by the name. So these are the details what we can view about a file when we say ls-l, list the output in long form. Okay, now moving forward, I would like to learn how to create files in Unix or Linux platform. See, to create a file, or to view the content of the file, or to overwrite the file, or to add the content to the file, we use one command called cat command. Cat stands for concatenate. By using cat command, you can create files, you can overwrite files, you can add data to file, or even you can view the contents of the file. So let me show you how to use this cat command. See, if there is an existing file, like I have Git file, if I want to view what is inside it, I can say cat space and the file name. This is going to show you what is present in that file. Or you can say cat my file. This will show you what is there inside this file. Now let us say I don't want it to view the file and other details. I wanted to create a new file. How can I create a new file? To create a new file, you can say cat space. After every command, you have to give a space to continue with the option greater than symbol. That means you are asking cat command to put a data in some file. What is the file you wanted to create? For example, I wanted to create a file with the name called test file. Now you see there will be a new file created with this name test file. Now beware if that name file already exists. You see in your previous output, there was no such file with the name test file. If already there is a file with that name, it will get overwritten. So please be careful that you are not mentioning the file which is already there. Otherwise, all the data inside that file will be overwritten without even intimating you. That is the problem with cat command. It won't intimate you, but it simply overwrite the content. So when I hit enter, you see I'm going to continue by typing something. I'll say hello world. This is my new file. Now, once you have finished typing, if you wanted to save the file, then you have to press Control D. You can also press Control C or Control D, both will work. So I'm going to press Control D and it will bring you out of the file. Now, if you do ls, you see there is a file available with the name test file. If you read what is inside it, you will actually find out that it contains some data. So this is the way you can use cat command for creating the file. Now, I wanted to overwrite the file. Maybe I don't like the content, so I wanted to change the content. I want to overwrite the file. So repeat the same command again, cat greater and the file. See, when you run cat greater on an existing file, it will simply overwrite the content without even telling you, without even intimating you, it is going to overwrite the file. The moment I hit enter, and you see, I'm going to type something over here. I'm going to say Linux is freedom and Git Gautham Digital is the best place for learning IT, right? Let me save it, Control D. Now, previously, if you see, I had the data hello world. This is my new file. Now, if I read the file, the old data will be overwritten and new data will be added. So this is what happens whenever you will write the data on an existing file. Okay, so this is how it is going to overwrite the content of your existing file. Now, moving forward, let us say I don't want it to overwrite the file. I want to keep the previous data and I wanted to add some new data into existing one. So how can I add new data into existing one? See, in order to append the data, we call it appending. To append the data in existing file, you have to use cat double greater. Single greater will override the existing file, where double greater will add data to existing file. So I'll say cat double greater and test file. When I hit enter and add the data, for example, I'm going to say that this is the video tutorial for Linux. Now when I press Ctrl D, and if you read the content of the file, see previously we used to have 3 lines and now we are having 5 lines. So what happened? We have appended the data to the existing file. Previous data is maintained as it is and new data has been added. So this is the way how we can create a file and we can append the data or even overwrite the file. Now let us say I wanted to create some blank files, empty files. Actually, there is no proper usage of empty files, but sometimes when you just wanted to show that you have some data and later on you wanted to add something into it, you can create some empty files and reserve those names, and later on you can add more data to it. To add empty files, we can go with a command, touch command. Now, touch is very safe command to work with. With touch command, you can create an empty files and later on you can use for adding data into it. For example, you can say touch and file1. Now, if you check out, there is file1 created. Check the properties of file1, you will find that it's an empty file, 0 byte file, which does not have anything inside it. Okay, now next thing is I want to create the same way multiple files. One file is not enough for me. I wanted to add 2, 3, 4, or 5 files maybe. So to add multiple files with touch command, you can say touch file2, file3, file4. So you see 4 files or 3 files will be created. File1, file2, file3, file4, like that. So this is the way how we can create multiple empty files. As of now, it does not have anything. Any file you want to add the data, you can say cat greater than and add the data into it. All right. Now let's move forward and see what's next. See, the next command, what we are going to learn is how to create a directory. As I explained you, directory is collection of objects, which is also called as folder. Whenever you want to organize your data, we create a directory and we keep some important stuff into it, whatever is needed. Like you can create a directory for audio, you can create a directory for video, you can create a directory for softwares, you can create a directory for downloads. So many segregative work we can do by creating directories. To create a directory, we have a command mkdir. Let's see how to use it. To create a directory, I'm going to go with the command mkdir and I'll use some name. See, mkdir command is very nice command. If you say mkdir an existing directory name, it will stop you and it is going to tell you that you cannot use this directory. Why? Because that name is already taken. So in that case, I have to use some other name. Let me use some other name and create a directory. So in that case, I'll say mkdir new dir. Now, if you do ls, you see there is new dir. It is created. Now the directory is created, but I wanted to step into that directory. I want to go inside that directory and I want to view what is inside it, or I want to create some more data into it. To change the directory and enter into the directory, you can go with the command cd followed by the directory name. Observe here, there is a tilt symbol is appearing. The moment you say cd and the directory name, it is going to change that location and it says that you are now in new dir. If you say ls, you'll find nothing because it's an empty directory. We haven't added anything into it. The moment you add the data, This data will now be stored in this directory. Now, just we have seen touch command. Using the same touch command, guys, I would like to create some 5 files or 8 files like that. So I can say touch. Now you can say file 1, file 2, file 3 like that. Or if you have the same name and the suffix you want to change with numbers. I don't want it to use the name just file. I want to call it file 1, file 2, file 3. So I have a suffix. So when you have a suffix in number, very beautifully you can give range. You can use the curly braces, and inside it you can say from which number to start and which number to end. Suppose I want it to start from number 1 and I want it to go till number 7. So it is going to create 7 file with the name file 1, file 2, file 3 up to 7. When I hit enter, do ls, and you see 7 files are created. Guys, in place of 7, if I give 70, then 70 files it is going to create. 700 files, 7,000 files, 700,000 files it is going to create like that. 70,000, 700,000, any number of files you want you can create. It would be a very big number to go with like that. So using this range is a really beautiful concept. Now same like this, if you want to create multiple directories, then you can use mkdir and the directory name followed by numbers. Maybe I want to go from 1 to 5. So in this case, it is going to create multiple directories for you. So these shortcuts are really handy, and it is going to really help us to create directories and files any number in a very short time. Now my work is over and I want to come back to previous directory. To leave the directory, you can use cd dot dot. So when I press cd space dot dot, it is going to take you one step back, right? And you are back to slash root. See, earlier it was displaying that I am in new dir. Now it says I am in slash root or your home directory. So this is the way you can create a directory, you can go inside the directory, or you can leave out the directory and come out, right? Now guys, I wanted to make it more interesting. See, I wanted to create a parent directory and a child directory in the same time. My requirement is I wanted to create one parent directory, and inside it, I want to add a child directory. How to do that? You can say mkdir hyphen p. Now, when you say hyphen p, you're asking it to create a parent directory first. So I'll say mkdir create a parent directory with the name called um, main directory, for example. Now, inside main directory, I wanted to create a subdirectory. So I'm asking mkdir to create a parent directory, and inside that parent directory, create a child directory. Now, when I hit enter, do ls, you see main directory is available. Look what is inside main directory. You'll find there is a subdirectory also created inside it. So this is the way you can create a main directory and you can create a subdirectory inside it. Now let us say I wanted to create one parent directory and 3 child directories. Is it possible? Yes. You can say mkdir -p, make the parent directory with a name, for example, zoo. In zoo, I want 3 directories to be created. So you have to use a curly braces and you can mention the subdirectories like I want lion, I want tiger, and I want cheetah, right? 3 directories I want to create under the main directory. So first it is going to create the zoo directory, and inside zoo directory, it is going to create cheetah, lion, and tiger. Same way, you can create more complex structure, like you can create the parent directory with the name world. Each parent directory should have three subdirectory, and each subdirectory should have another two to set up directories. So how to achieve this scenario? I want world, inside it India, Australia, USA. In India, two directories. In USA, two directories. And in Australia, two directories. To achieve this content, we have to use the command like this. I'll say mkdir. First, you create the parent directory with the name called world. Inside world, I want three subdirectories. One is India, comma, other one is USA, and the other one is Australia. Now it's not yet done here. I want in India two directories, in USA two directories, and in Australia two directories. So in that case, I'll come to India and I'll give a slash. In India, I want two directories, Hyderabad and Bangalore. In USA, I want two directories, maybe New York and New Jersey. And in Australia, I again need two directories, maybe Sydney and Melbourne. So this is going to create a parent directory called world with three child directories, India, USA, and Australia, wherein India will have two subdirectories, USA will have two subdirectories, and Australia will have two subdirectories. So this is the way how we can achieve this scenario as well. When I hit enter, now if you do ls, you see there is a world directory. If you go into world directory, where am I? I am right now in world directory. Do ls. In world, I have Australia, India, USA. Just check ls Australia, ls India, and ls USA. And you see it is going to display the thing for you. Now let us say I'll come out of this directory. See, there is one more shortcut to leave the directory. It doesn't matter where you are. If you just run cd command, it will pick you up and throw you into your home directory. So it doesn't really matter where you are. The moment you run cd, it is going to take you and send you into your home directory. So you are in /root now. Now, if you wanted to view the whole content in one output, you can say ls hyphen capital R, where R stands for recursive. So recursive will display everything what is present in world directory. So it says in world there are three directories, in Australia there are two directories, Melbourne and Sydney are empty. In India there are two directories, Bangalore and Hyderabad, both are empty. Same way you have USA with two directories and both of them are empty. So this is the way you can view from top to bottom everything, right? Fine. Now let us learn how we can use one more concept called copying the data. See, sometimes we want to copy the files from one location to other location. Like in Windows or in your graphical environment, you use Control C and Control V to create a copy and paste it. As we are learning everything on command line, so we are going to use cp command to do that activity. So I'm going to say cp source and destination. For example, I have a file here called git file. I want to make a copy of it and I want to put it into main directory. If I say ls main, you see there is no such file with the name called main. When I say cp, copy which file, git file, and paste it where? In main directory. When I hit enter, you see original file will be as it is. It is not going to get disturbed. A copy of it will be created and pasted in main directory. Like that, you can copy multiple files also. For example, you want to copy three files. So you just need to say cp file1, file2, file3 in main directory. So this time 3 files will be copied. So this is the way how we can copy a single file, or you can copy multiple files. Same way guys, if you want to copy a directory. See, directory will have contents inside it. For example, I'll create some empty directory to show you how this thing will be working. So what I did is I have created 3 directories over here. Let's say I wanted to move one directory into other directory, or I want to copy one directory into other directory. For example, I have new dir. I want to copy entire new dir directory into D4, for example. If you check in D4, it's empty, it's having nothing. So I'm going to say cp. I want to copy a directory called new dir where I want to put it in D4. But guys, when you are copying a directory, some extra options you can use, which is very important. Like you can use R, V, F, P, where R is mandatory. Without using R option, you cannot copy a directory. If you are copying a directory, mandatorily, you have to use -R. Others are optional. V to view the verbose output, what is getting copied. F to do this task forcefully. P to preserve the permissions. Now, what are the file permissions? We will understand in the coming classes or coming videos in this series, right? So only one option is very important, that is -R. So let me come back and I'll add -R. So I'm telling copy recursively whatever is there in this directory into D4. When I hit enter, first of all, observe your original directory is as it is. It has not been disturbed. A copy of it has been pasted in D4. So like that, you can copy some files, you can copy some directories and put it into any other directory of your choice, whatever you want to do, right? Same way, we can also go for moving. See, moving is nothing but cut and paste. If you want to move completely a file from its original location to some other place, so in that case, we will be going with mv command, right? So when we go with mv command, it will totally move out the things from its current location to some other place. For example, I wanted to move file1 to D4 directory. So I'll say mv what you want to move file1 to which location, D4. Now first you check the current location. Earlier there used to be a file file1, but now there is no file. It has been moved into D4. Just check it out in D4 and you will find that file is residing over there. The same way, you can use mv command to move a directory from its current place to some other place. For example, I have a main directory. Now this directory I want to move out in world directory. So I have to just use mv move the main directory in world directory. So observe here, earlier there used to be a main directory, but now it is moved into world directory and you can find it over here. So this is the way you can use mv command to move the objects from one location to the other location. Moving forward, if you want to rename a file, for example, I don't like the name of the file or a directory and I want to rename it. For example, I have a file test file. Maybe I don't like that name and I want to change the name to M1 file or any other name, whatever you like. To rename a file also, we use mv command. Now guys, how is it possible that at one time mv is working as moving and the other time it is working as renaming? See here, there is a logic what you have to understand. What is the logic it uses? See, the new name what you are using is the logic behind mv to work as rename command. For example, if I say mv move file to D4. So in this case, you see D4 exist. So what it does, if the destination exists, it will move this file into that directory. See, destination, if it is there, it is going to move the data from its current position and it put it elsewhere wherever you have asked it. But suppose the new name what you are using, suppose I have test file, it has some data. Now, if I want to rename it, I need to say mv, which file you are targeting, test file. Now, the destination or the new name is the logic for rename. The name what you are mentioning must be a new name. It should not be an existing name. If you use an existing name, it will work as moving. If you use something new, for example, XYZ file, you see in your current location, there is no file with the name XYZ file. So it is going to create that file. It is going to rename that file. When I hit enter, do ls, and you see test file is gone, and in place of it there is a new file xyz file which contains the same data. So this is the way how mv command will work as moving, and it will also work as renaming. So guys, in this video, I want to stop over here and we will meet back again in the next video where we will continue to work with deleting the stuff and moving ahead. Thank you very much for joining this video and we'll see you in the next part of the video. Hello everyone. So let's continue our discussion what we were doing in the last video. Up till now, we have done with copying and moving. Now let's move forward and learn removing the files. Guys, removing the file is a very responsible activity and we have to be very careful with that, especially when we are working on command line. There are no recycle bins or trash bins. Once the file is deleted, it is gone permanently. So we have to be very careful while deleting the file. To delete the file, we have a command rm, and to delete a directory, we have rmdir. Let's see how rm and rmdir will work. Suppose I have a file here with the name file4. And if I wanted to remove that file, I'll be going with the command rm-f followed by file4. If I just use rm and file4, you see it will prompt me a question, do you really want to remove it? And you have to say yes or no, where n represents no and y represents yes. Now you see the file is deleted. If you want to delete the file with without being prompted yes or no, so you can say rm-f file. Going to how you can tree, then this will remove the RMDI. The directory is directory over here. Going to tell you I came to know a directory into the directory. Suppose I have a main site, several child. And what will I do? Going and deleting them. For example, you have a directory like this. Now I have a world directory. Inside it, I have Australia, India, USA, main. So many things are there. Going into each directory and emptying it, then removing it, then finally removing the main directory would be very challenging. So if you want to delete a directory which has the content, then the better option what you can use is rm-rf, where R stands for recursive and F stands for forceful. So it is going to remove a directory with everything inside it. So I'm going to say rm-rf d4. See, without prompting anything, everything is deleted. Same way, you can say rm-rf world directory. So in world directory, there was so much data, everything got deleted. This is the way we can use rm command to remove the files or directory. Now moving forward, let us try to understand how can I edit the file using VI editor or VIM editor. See, whenever we have created a file and if we wanted to make the changes in the file, we need a file editor. Commands like cat command can only allow you to append more data into it. It may allow you to read the files and it may allow you to overwrite the file, but it won't allow you to edit the file the way you want to edit it. So in that case, I'll be going with VI editor. Now there is a upgraded version of VI editor which is called as VIM editor. VI stands for Visual Display Editor and VIM stands for Visual Display Editor Improved. Now VI or VIM both has three modes: command mode, insert mode, and extended command mode. On a very summarized way, command mode is used for cut, copy, paste the lines or jumping from top page to the bottom page and all that thing. Then you've got insert mode that will allow you to insert the data into the file. You can go into the file and you can make necessary corrections, modifications, everything you can do by going into insert mode. And the last thing what we have is extended command. So in extended command mode, you can actually you want to directory work with I'm having I wanted to so I wanted to make number two. So how can I change VI or VIM? In this tutorial, we'll be going with VIM, which is the upgraded version of VI and which is very better to work with. So I'm going to go with vim xyz file. When I hit enter, you see it opens the file for you. Now you can use down arrow, right arrow, up arrow, left arrow, wherever you want it to go, you can go and you can make the change. But the problem is if I type anything, suppose I'm trying to type LK, LK, JK, JK, you see instead of typing, the cursor is moving right hand, left hand, up and down different places. Okay, now I just wanted to type it. I want to make the changes inside it. So if I wanted to go into the file for editing, then I need to change the mode to insert mode. See, command mode is the default mode in VI Editor. Whenever you open the file in VI Editor, by default, you will be in command mode. So command mode will only allow you to cut, copy, paste the lines, moving from top to bottom and all that thing. If you really wanted to edit the file, then you have to change the mode to insert mode. Now, there are so many methods of going into insert mode. Like you can press small I and this will begin to insert mode from the cursor position. Then you have capital I, which will bring the cursor to the beginning of the line and then it will start editing. Same way we have small a, small o, capital O, which will open new line below the cursor, open new line above the cursor. So many things are there. But out of all, if you just remember one option, I think that would be more than enough for you to enter and do the changes into the file. So if I wanted to edit the file, I'll be pressing I over here. So you see at the bottom, it has printed the file name. The moment I press I, it will represent that here is the insert mode. So here it is telling you that we are using the insert mode. Now you type anything, JK, JK, LK, LK, you see now the letters are getting typed. It is not just uh, moving the cursor, but it is actually printing something. Now you can go anywhere in the file, and wherever you think there is a necessary correction, you can do it. If you want to change the font size, you can change the font size. If you want to change the color, you can change the color. If you want to change the background, you can change the background. If you want to change the font size, you can change the font size. If you want to change the color, you can change the color. If you want to change the background, you can change the background. If you want to change the background, you can change the background. If you wanted to change the font size, you can change the font size. If you wanted to change the background, you can change the background. If you wanted to change the color, you can change the color. If you wanted to change the background, you can change the background. If you wanted to change the font size, you can change the font size. If you wanted to change the background, you can change the background. If you wanted to change the color, you can change the color. If you wanted to change the background, you can change the background. If you wanted to add up a new line, just hit enter at the last letter and the new line is open. You can so whenever your work is have to press, you'll be out of LK. So but the moment you character, it would just add insertion, insert mode, the existing data. What to do? Generally use of lines, file, etc. Like over here, you can see there is a character called G. When you press G in command mode, G is the command that will directly take you to the end of the page or end of the file to be correctly. Suppose I am at the beginning of the file. Let's say I'll take my cursor to the beginning of the file. Now I want to jump directly to the last line. So you have to press Shift G or capital G. This is going to take you from the beginning of the line page to the end of the file. It will take you to the last line in the file. Obviously, in this output, it may not make sense. I'm just having 6 lines. But when you are dealing with a file with 60 lines, 600 lines, and you want to directly jump to the bottom of the file, believe me, this option is very helpful. Now, if you are at the bottom and you want to go directly to the top, then you can press 2 times G. When you press 2 times G, it will take you directly to the beginning of the file. So let's come back and try 2 times G, GG. It will take you to the beginning. Shift G will bring you to the bottom. 2 times small g will bring you to the beginning. This is the way how you can go to the top or from the top you can come to the bottom. Now, another thing what you can do in VI editor in command mode is cut copying the lines or deleting the lines. Suppose I want to copy this first line. Keep the cursor on that line which you want to copy, and two times you have to press YY. Two times YY will allow you to copy the entire line. So when I say YY, that line is copied. Now, if you wanted to paste it, to paste below the cursor position small p. When you press small p, wherever your cursor is, below the cursor it will get pasted. If you want to paste above the cursor position, then you can use capital P. Capital P to paste above the cursor position, small p to paste below the cursor position. Okay, now let's see that. So I have copied one line. Now if I want to paste it, I'll use small p. When I press small p, paste. Small p, paste. If I use capital P, it will paste above the cursor position. Small p will paste below the cursor, and capital P will paste above the cursor position. Now let us say that I don't want to copy one line, I want to copy three lines. So how to copy multiple lines? In this case, you have to go with NYY. NYY will allow you to copy multiple lines. Now N can be number of lines, 5YY, 4YY, or 40YY, 50YY, how many lines that you want to copy. So let me come back, and here I'll say, for example, 3YY. The moment you run 3YY, it says at the bottom, three lines yanked, three lines copied. Now to paste it, you can go anywhere. Small p will paste the below cursor, capital P will paste above the cursor position. So wherever you want, you can paste it. Now let us say that by mistake, I have pasted multiple times. I did not intend it to paste it so many times. Now I want to undo the last change. Like in graphics, we use Control Z, Control Z to undo the last change. Here, to undo the last change, you can use U. If you press U key, it will undo the last change. To redo the change again, you can use Control R. Control R for redoing the changes and U to undo. So Control R will repaste. U will undo the last changes. Also, if you want to cut a line from one place and you want to paste it other place. For example, I wanted to cut this line. Git is the best place for trainings. For example, to cut this line, I have to press two times D. D two times will cut that line. Now you can move the cursor wherever you want and you can paste it. So it is going to paste it like that. So you can cut a line from one location and you can paste it other line. You can go with NDD to cut multiple lines also. Let us say I don't want to cut. I want to delete it and I don't want to use it again. So to cut and delete, for both case, we will be using DD. So what's the logic that one time it is working as cut and the other time it is working as delete? The logic is whenever you say DD or NDD, it cuts the line. But if you don't use P to paste it, the lines will get deleted. It will be kept deleted. It won't be pasted. So whatever you have cut, you have to paste it to use it. If you say DD and did not say P, the lines will be deleted. It won't be use it again. For example, I wanted to delete two lines. So I'll say to DD. Now those lines are deleted if I don't paste it again. So if I wanted to use it, then I need to use P and then it is going to get pasted. So it's up to you how you actually wanted to use it. If you delete it and don't want it back, just press DD. Don't say P, it will get deleted or it will be kept deleted. If you wanted to search anything in this file, so you can use / and you can type whatever you are looking for. For example, I'm looking for welcome, or I'm looking for is, or I'm looking for ID. Whatever you want, you can just look it in this fashion. Now, the third mode, what we have is extended mode. See, extended mode is the climax of the story. In this, after doing all your work, the last thing what you really wanted to do is save your work. Or maybe you have deleted so many lines and now you are confused, so you want to quit without saving anything. So both things are possible, either save and quit or quit without saving any changes. So in order to be in extended mode, you need to make sure that you are not in insert mode. To make it sure, you can press Escape to guarantee that you are not in insert mode. Then here you have to use colon. See, extended mode is also called as colon mode because here every command will start with a character colon. Colon Q, colon WQ, colon W exclamation. All commands in extended mode will start with exclamation. Now again, be sure that you are not in insert mode. If you are in insert mode and then you are typing colon, so it will get typed as a character, it won't work as a command. That's the reason, to be sure, you can press escape to make sure that you are not inside that insert mode. And now you can say colon. So you see it is working as a command. WQ exclamation. So I'm telling save and quit forcefully. So whenever you want to save the file in VI editor and quit, you have to say WQ, and using exclamation is highly recommended to make it forceful changes. Now, if you read the file, you see earlier this file was having just 5-6 lines, and now some changes have been added. This is the way how we can use VI editor to make the change. Now let us say I'll go back to the file one more time. Let's say I have deleted few of the lines. Now I'm not really sure, did I do a right thing or not? Let us say I don't really want it to continue in this scenario. Maybe I think I have done a mistake. So if I want to quit without saving, I can say colon Q exclamation. WQ save and quit. Only Q quit without saving the changes. The moment I hit enter, now you read the file, nothing got changed. Whatever was there earlier is still there, and we are not having any kind of change available over here. So this is the way, guys, how we can actually use this thing very nicely. If you are confused and you don't want to continue, quit without saving. If you are sure what you are doing, then you can say WQ to save and quit. Now, moving forward, let us say I want to password protect my file. Or before password protect, I'm sorry, I wanted to set line numbers. Sometimes there would be a scenario that in the documents it would be written that go to line number so and make the change. How to know which line number I am, or how to jump to a specific line number? For both cases, if you generate the line numbers, that would be helpful. To set the line numbers, you can say colon SE space NU to set the numbers. And to remove the numbers, you can say colon SE no NU. SENU set number, SE no NU not to set any number. So let me just come back to our practical term. And if I say colon SE space NU, you see line numbers have been assigned. To remove the line numbers, SE no NU, this will remove the line numbers. So setting the line numbers, colon SENU. To remove the line number SE no NU. Now let us say that I have set the line numbers. Now I want to go to a specific line. To go to a specific line, you can say colon and line number, suppose 7th. So it will take you to line number 7. You say take me to line number 3, it will take you to line number 3. So like that, you can go to your desired line number to make sure that you are at a proper line. And to remove the line numbers, SE no NU. This will remove it. Now, if you want to encrypt your file or you want to protect your file with a passphrase, let us say I have a sensitive data and I don't want it to share it with others, and I don't want this file to be accessible by others. So in that case, I can encrypt my file, or in a simple term, I can password protect my file. To do that, I'll go with colon capital X. X stands for encryption. When I hit enter, it will ask you to provide encryption key. Now you can keep the password of your choice, whatever you wanted to keep it. For example, I'm going to keep the password as ABC123. One more time, ABC123. Now let me save and quit. Whatever you do, the final thing you have to do is saving, quitting, and coming out of it. So when I say WQ exclamation to save and come out, you will be out of the file. Now you try to read the file, it would not allow you to read the content. Some encrypted information will be available. So it says VIM has been encrypting this thing. Even if you open the file, XYZ file, it is going to open and it would ask for passphrase. If you give a wrong passphrase, it is never going to open the file for you. So if you want to view the content, then you need to type the proper password and then it will be open. Now, if you want to change the password or remove the password, first you got to open the file successfully. After that, you have to again use capital X in colon capital X. Then you can type anything and change the password, or you can hit enter to leave the password or to remove the password. Empty one time, empty second time. And now you just save and quit. Now you try to read the file. You see the file will open and you will be able to read it. Guys, with VI Editor, you can open two files for editing at a time. For example, I have Git file and I have my file, or I have Git file and XYZ file. Both files I want to open. So you can say vim-o, open XYZ file and Git file. When you do like that, two screens will appear. First screen is XYZ file and second screen is Git file. Suppose I want to copy something from here and paste it over here. So in that case, you can copy few lines like 3YY. So I have copied 3 lines. Now, if you want to toggle between these two files, you can use Control W. When you use Control W, you can switch or toggle between the two files. So 2 times you have to press Control W. Control W, Control W will take you to second file. Now here I can paste it. Again, Control W, first file. 2 times Control W will take you to second file. 2 times Control W will take you to first file. This is the way how you can jump between these two things and you can work, right? Now you can save and quit both the files, or quit one file and save and quit the other file. Now you read the file, you'll find that you have successfully copied the data from first file to the second file. So this is the way how we uses this beautiful feature of VI editor that will allow you to work very greatly with this concept, right? Now moving forward, guys, we have so interesting features like soft link, hard link, and all that thing. And these things we are going to view in our coming lectures. Thank you very much for joining this session. Hope to see you in the next session soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the next part of Linux commands. Now, in this class, we are going to start working first with find command. As the name itself is suggesting, find command is used to find the data in the whole operating system. You can search the data in a specific location, or if you don't know the location, the best thing is you can say search in the whole operating system. The syntax goes like this. You can say find, where to find. If you give forward slash only, then it is going to search your data in the entire operating system. And you can search the file with various options. Like you can use name of the file as an argument, inode number as an argument, and type as an argument, and the user or owner of the file as an argument, or group owner as an argument. Let me show you all of them. See, first of all, let us say I wanted to find a file in the whole operating system with some name. So I'll say find, where to find. Find the file in the whole operating system by its name, and the name of the file should be something that you're searching. Like in my case, I'd like to search with a name called SE Linux. So it is going to search the file with that name. Or if you're looking for a file which is a normal file, or which is a directory or a link file or different files, so you can say find in the whole operating system a file whose name is SE Linux, but the type of file should be uh, a directory. So it is going to search the file with that option. So we need to mention hyphen type. That's the mistake what I've done. So let me say the type, not hyphen T. I need to give type, and it should be a directory. So you see it is going to search in the whole operating system all the files, which is a directory. Or you want to search the name SE Linux, that must be a soft link. So this is going to show you whether the file is a soft link or what. So if you just look it out, you'll find that it is a soft link. Any file that start with L is a soft link. Suppose you're looking for a file with its inode number. First of all, you understand what is an inode number. See guys, inodes are the index node that keep the information about the file. Every file will have an inode attached to it. Inodes are very much same like the index pages that you have in your files or in your magazines or the lab manuals, what you use, the textbooks. The first or second page generally in a manual or a textbook, you'll have an index page. That index page will tell you that which topic is available on which page number. Suppose if I remove that index page, will it be an easier task for you to find it? Absolutely not. So in that case, we prefer going with inode. Same way in your hard drive, as the hard drive might be very big, it may be 500 GB, 1 TB. So in that big hard drive, in which data blocks or in which area of the hard drive the file is stored, that information is maintained by inode. So every file you're having will have an inode number. So you see so many files are there, and each file is starting with a number that is called as inode number. So if you want to search a file with its inode number, then you can use again the find command. Find where to find, in root, with what to find, with an inode number. What's the inode number? This is the inode number. So it is going to search the file wherever it is available in your system with that inode number. You can also find the file by owner name. For example, I have a user with the name my user. So it will search for all the files with that name my user, and it will display you all the files that is owned by my user. So this is the way how we work with find command to find anything or to search anything in the whole operating system. Now moving forward, let's talk about links. See, there are two types of links that are supported in Unix or Linux environment: soft link and a hard link. To make it very simple, soft link is nothing but a shortcut file, whereas hard link is a backup file. Soft link can be created across the partition. Suppose you have two partition, like in Windows you have C drive, D drive, like that. So original file can be in C drive and the link file can be kept in D drive. So you can create the link across the partition and there is no problem with that. Over here, inode number of the original file and the link file will be different. And the most important part is, if the original file is deleted, the link is broken and data inside it will be lost. So let us see how we can deal with soft link. To create a soft link, we have a simple command ln-s, the original file location, and the destination where you want to keep your file. Practically, when I show you, it becomes more easy to understand. Now let us say I have a directory, my dir. If I go into my dir, there are some files. Let us say I have this file, git file. If I try to read what is inside it, it has nothing. It's an empty file. So let us use vi editor to put some data in git file 1. Now inside it, I'm going to add some data. Hello world, this is a test for link, right? Now let me save and quit. So if you read it now, it has some data. Now what I'm going to do, see, I'll check the complete location of the file. The file is present in /root/mydir with the name git file. So we have to give the address like this: in /root mydir. In mydir, there is file called git file 1. Now, if I leave the directory, I'm no more in my directory. See, every time to read the file, I need to go into my dir. Every time to edit the file, I need to go into my dir. So I need a shortcut from where easily I can access it. See, like in Windows also, you might have seen whenever you install a software, the software will get installed in program files folder. But every time to run that software, for example, you have installed Mozilla Firefox browser. So every time to open the browser, I'll not go to C drive, program files, Mozilla forward folder and power it on. On the desktop, I'll create a shortcut, and from that shortcut, I can easily access it. So same way, every time to make any changes in the file, I don't want to go into my directory. So I'm going to create a soft link. To create a soft link, I have to say ln-s and the complete address of the file. The complete address goes like this: in slash there is root, in root there is my directory, in my directory there is a file called git file 1. For this file, in my current location, I want to create a link with the name anything you like. I'm going to call it soft. Now, if you do ls, you see there is a turquoise color file. So this turquoise color file means that this is not a regular file. If you check the detail ls-l and soft, it is starting with L. L represent this is the shortcut file or link file, and the color is also used as turquoise to make you understand that this is not a regular file. So it says if you are going to read this file, it is actually going to take you to the original location there. If you edit the file, actually the original file will be edited. If you make any changes in soft file, actually the original file is going to get edited. So let me just try to read the data, cat soft. So you see, it is showing that yes, there is a data. To make it more interesting, I'll take one more session of the same machine. I'll log in as root, and this time I'll go into my dir. So if I read git file 1, you see we have same data. Actually, when you read soft file, you're actually reading the original file. If I try to add anything, I'll say vim soft, and I'm going to open a new line. I'll say new data added by link file. Links are beautiful. Something you want, you can type it. Now I added two more lines. If you try to read the file catsoft, you see it is going to add the data. Actually, the data has been added in the original file. So whenever you access the link, it automatically takes you to original file. If you add the data, originally the data will be added over there. That's the reason you see the size of original file, it keep on get increased. If you just check it out, the size is 85 bytes. Whereas if you check the soft link, the size earlier was 20 bytes, and now also if you check, the size still remains 20 bytes. But the question is how it got 20 byte size. See, here it is mentioned, the size of link file is equal to number of characters in the name of original file. So how the link file is getting its size? You see how many characters do you have in the path of original file. Here it says the size is 20. If you count, it goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So always the size will be 20. If you rename the file, then maybe the size may get differ. So link does not hold any data. All the data you have is in the original file. That's the reason if I remove the original file, let's say I'm in my directory and I'm going to remove this file, rm-f and get file 1. See, as soon as you remove the original file, the link will be broken and the link file will show red color. Why it is showing red color? Because it is not able to find the original file. Where the original file is kept, it is missing the path. Now, as the original file is deleted, link will be useless for us. It is not going to be of any use. So as I don't want to use it anymore, I'll delete it. So this is the way how soft links will be created. The role of soft link is to provide you ease of access where you can access it easily. Now, we have another type of link, which is hard link. So hard link is a backup file. And over here, you see size of both files will be same. And there is a restriction that it cannot be created across the partition. So if your original file is in C drive, you cannot create the link in D drive. That would be the restriction. Why there is a restriction? The reason is original and link, both files are going to access the same inode number. This is the reason why you are not allowed to create a link file across the partition, because both partitions are not going to share the same inode. First partition will have different inodes, second partitions will have different inodes. So as one partition cannot access another partition inode, the restriction is original and link file should be in the same partition to access the same inode. And here is the real beauty. If the original file is deleted, still the link will preserve your data. So it's actually a linked backup file. Let's do the experiment. In order to create a hard link, you just need to say ln without any option, source and destination. Let's do it. Let me go to our terminal. In this case, I'll take maybe that git file as our original file. So for this file, I'm going to create a link file, a hard link. So if you check the git file detail, there is some data and this is the detail. To create a hard link, we just need to say ln and the original file. See, to make the concept simple, in the same directory, I'm creating original file and link file. So I'll say ln get file and make a link with the name hard file. Now observe, as soon as you make a hard link, earlier it was telling that this file has no link, it's just a single file. But now it is starting to tell you that there are two links of this file. If you do ls, there appears a file hard, but if you see, it has appeared as a normal file. It did not came up with any different color. When it comes to soft link, it used turquoise color, so it was easy for me to find out that it's a different file. But hard link will appear as if it is just a normal file. How can I find out that where is the other file for this? Suppose you are new to an environment and you need to find out that which is the hard link for this file. I found out that it is showing me two. So where is the other partner of this file or link file? See, the only way to find out where is the hard link file, you just need to find out inode number. If you haven't forgot, we learn here that inode number of both files will be same. So just copy this inode by selecting it and say find. Find in the whole operating system a file with an inode number 33579283. So you see there will be two files it will be reporting. So if you check the details of hard, you will find out that yes, both files are having same inode, same addresses, everything is same, even the sizes are same. Now if you read the content, cat get file and cat hard, so you see both are showing same place, same thing. Now if I edit one file, suppose I'll go to get file. Inside it, I want to add something. Suppose I want to add Git is the best place for learning IT technologies. Something you wanted to say, you can add it. Now you see when I edit first file, the second file will also get same changes. So if you read the first file, second file will replicate the same change. So I edited git file and I added one line. The same change has been applied to our second file also. And if I edit second file, let's say vim hard, and over here also I'll open a new line and I'm going to say git is number one institute in India. Let me save and quit. Now, if you read the hard file, the new line is added. Now, if you read the git file, same change will be added. So these files are replicated. They are linked back up. If you edit the first file, the second file will also get edited. If you make the change in first file, the second file will also get the same change. But the real beauty comes here. If I remove the original file, rm-f git file, you do ls and hard will be strong and it is not going to change any color. Only thing is, if you look the details of hard, it says I'm not having any link, it's a single file. And if you read the file, you still have the data. So if you have any important files, important configuration files that holds very important data, to preserve it, hard link is always preferable. Okay, now moving forward, we have our next concept, grep. I really like this command a lot It's a life-saving command in Linux. See, whenever you are looking for so much data and you wanted to find a specific information, this file is going to help you up to a great extent. grep stands for Global Regular Expression Print. See, as the name itself is telling you that it is going to print expressions from your file or output what you're looking for. For example, let us say I have this file etc password. See, etc password is a file that contains user information, so please do not try to edit it. I'm just using that file as an example. We will never ever edit this file. When I hit enter, you see so much data is displayed. Almost 45, 46 lines might be there over here. If I say cat-n, you see 45 lines are there. Now, if you want to find a specific name in this file, you need to read 45 lines and then you will come to know whether that thing exists or not. So how tough it is that every time if I wanted to find something, I need to manually read the whole file. Instead of that, you can ask grep to read it for you. You can say grep, search me a name root in the file etc password. So you see it is going to search and tell you whether the name exists or not. If the name exists, you'll get the output. If the name does not exist, you won't get any output. In fact, you can also see which line number consisted. So you can say grep-n and you can see line number 1 and line number 10. Two particular lines are having that thing for us. This is the way you can use grep command to read something into a file. Let us say I'm having multiple expressions to search. Only a single expression is not enough for me. I want to search two, three words. So in that case, guys, whenever you're having more than one expression, please use hyphen E. Hyphen E represents expression. So you can say first expression I'm looking is root. Second expression I'm looking is ADM. Third expression I'm looking is my user. In which file? etc password. You can search it in a single file or you can search it in multiple files. So it will tell you which one is available in password, which one is available in shadow. So like that, you can search multiple expressions in a file if you're looking out. See, if three or four expressions are there, the way I showed you, you can go for it. But guys, if I'm having five expressions, six expressions, then how can I give multiple expressions like that? You can say grep hyphen capital E. Small e represents single expression. Capital E represents expressions where we are going to give multiple expressions. And the best way to give multiple expression is by using the single quote and mention all the expressions. You need to use root and then pipe symbol. Then you have to use ADM, then pipe. If you don't know how pipe comes, see you have a backslash. And if you use shift and backslash, the pipe symbol will come. It is used as a modulus or separator. Root, ADM, maybe SSHD, maybe I'll go for nobody, or I'll go for my user. Multiple expressions you can search in a single file or in a multiple file. Also, if you wanted to go with line numbers, you can also add hyphen n. N will print the line numbers. So this is the way, guys, you can use grep command to search a particular word in the file. Now let's learn a little more about grep command. See, I have this file, maybe XYZ file is there. Now in this file, you wanted to look for a particular word. Let me make it a little interesting over here by editing this file. I'll go for XYZ file. There is a word Linux, and maybe what I'll do is I'm going to change it a little bit. Right. See guys, I have this file XYZ file, and I am looking in this file for a word called Linux. So I'm going to tell grep search the word Linux in XYZ file. So you see wherever the word is found, it will tell you. But if you observe here, Linux is available in complete small letters. It is available in complete capital letters, and it is also available in mixed letters. So you have lowercase also, uppercase also, and mixed case also. So if I give in small letter, it will only search for small letter. If I give in capital L, it will search the line starting with capital L. If I give in complete caps, it is going to search it in complete caps. So what I wanted to do over here is I want to remove that case sensitivity. I want it to have everything printed if there is a word Linux. So I'm going to say grep hyphen I stands for case insensitive. So whether it is uppercase, lowercase, mixed case, I don't mind. If there is a word Linux, print it for me. So you see this time the lines, the word starting with capital L or the complete capital or small, all are printed over here. So this is the way you can use grep command. And another beauty of grep command is you can combine grep with other commands also. For example, we have a command called rpm. rpm-qa in Red Hat based Linux, you can search all uh, the softwares that are installed. So when I say rpm-qa, guys, it is going to display all the software that you have. Almost how many lines do we have? Let's count it. To count the lines, you can say rpm-qa and pipe. See, pipe is a connector. Generally, you might have seen the pipes that we use in our home for household work, like maybe for filling some vessels or watering the plants or something. One end of the pipe will be connected to the tap, and the other end of the pipe will be given to output. So with that pipe, what we'll do, from one end we will send the water and it will be used on the other end. Same thing, the pipe will work over here. One output, see, first command output will be sent as an input to other command. So whatever output RPM is generating, this output will be sent to the other command to do some other work. So whenever you want to combine two commands, we use pipe symbol to join those commands. So I'm telling count the line. WC stands for world count and hyphen L represents lines. So you see this time it is going to print 1362 lines are there. So if I want to see a particular software is there or not, will you be going to read 1362 lines? It would be very tough. So what I'll do, I'll first run rpm command, and the output of this command, we are going to send it to grep. So I'm telling grep, whatever output RPM is generating, from that output, find out and tell me Firefox is there or not. So you see, it says yes, it is there. Or maybe I'm looking for Open SSH. Is it there or not? So you see how simple the thing is becoming. If I don't know this thing, then I need to read all 1600 lines or 1300 lines to find it out, right? So grep can be combined with other commands also. Now, there are a few more filter commands that we are going to cover up in this session, like less command, more command, head command, tail command, sort command, cut command, and set command. These are very, very useful commands that will make our life easier while working with Linux. So let us start first with less command. See, again, I'll take an example of etc password. As you see, 45 lines are there. Now the whole 45 lines went so fast that I'm not even able to view what was the initial lines
that was missed out. So what I want is I want to pause the output. I want it to pause the output and I want it to display the output line by line on my convenience. So what less will do, it will read the file for you. The first page will be displayed and then it will stop. So this is from the beginning till the first page on your screen. Now you can take your time, read the whole page. Now if you want to continue, you can use down arrow to go next line. When you go next line, it will take you down, down, down. If you use up arrow, it will bring you back up. Now, maybe I don't want it to read line by line. I want it to go page by page. So you can use D to go down with next page. So if I press D, it takes me next page down, next page down. And if you reach the end, it will show you that you are reaching the end. If you want to go back, you can say B for back. B for back. Like that, you can go down or you can go back as per your convenience, how you want to work. Now, let's say I'm done reading and I want to quit. So you can press Q to quit. D for down, B for back, and Q to come out of less prompt. Same like less, we have more. See, more will also pass the output. If you go and say more and the file, it will open the file for you, and here it gives you time to read it. So again, you can read the first page. But the problem with more is it is little rough command. If you use down arrow here or up arrow here, it is not going to work. Here you need to hit enter to go down. B to come back. And if you say D, the thing is, as soon as it reaches the end, automatically it is going to quit the file. So if I say D, D, and you see, as we have reached the end, automatically you are out of the file. Anyway, to pause the output, both of them are better. You can say rpm-qa less. So it will open the file and it is going to wait for you, or the output and wait for you. When I use down arrow, up arrow, it goes like this. And if I'm searching something, you can use forward slash, and maybe you can search for the word Google. Now, wherever the word Google thing is available, it will display. Or maybe you're looking for something called Firefox. So it is going to search that for you. So forward slash can be used to search in less prompt or more prompt. Now, same like that, we have our other command, that is head and tail. So when you go for head and tail, head represents top some lines and tail represents bottom some lines of a file. See, sometimes I'm only interested to read top few lines. So you can ask head to display only top few lines what you are interested with. So when we go for head and the file name is etc password. So when I say head and etc password, it will display only top few lines of etc password. Now, how many lines it is going to display? It is going to display 10 top lines. Same way, if you want to view bottom 10 lines, then you can say tail etc password. Now, this is going to show you bottom 10 lines of the file. Head represents top 10 lines and tail represents bottom 10 lines. Maybe I'm not interested to view 10 lines. I just want to view top 4 lines and bottom 4 lines. So I'll go for head hyphen 4 etc password. So this will only display top 4 lines. If I want to go for bottom 4 lines, then I'll go for tail etc password. This will show me bottom 4 lines. So this is the way how you can use head and tail to view the output top and bottom. Like whenever you have added some new user, to get the details about that new user, you have to look in the bottom of etc password. So etc password is going to display the bottom few lines over here where you can find out the new addition if there is a user available or added with that name. All right, so that's how head and tail will be working. Now we've got one more file, one more option called sort command. See, sort is used to sort the output or arrange the output. Any file, for example, you have XYZ file, and here if you want to view the alphanumeric order of the file, suppose you have a file in which names of users are kept. So you want to arrange the output with respect to alphabets. Letters starting with A should come at the top, B next, C next, D next. So A to Z order you want to arrange. So you can say sort XYZ file. So this is going to show you the alphabetical order that G, the letter that starts with G came first, and the line starting with L, then T, then W. This is the alphabetical order. Now guys, in this case, your original file is not going to disturb. Only it modifies the output to show you alphanumeric order, right? Fine. The next command what we have is cut command. Suppose guys, you have a user or employee detail files. Now in that employee detail file, one column is used to represent employee name. Second column, employee ID. Third column, employee designation. Fourth column, employee department. Fifth column, employee salary, something like that, right? So from that multiple fields, if you are interested to view only one field or two field, employee name, employee ID, employee name, employee designation, employee name, employee department, or employee name, employee salary. So in that case, cut command is used. Cut command will allow you to cut the output into columns, and you can view a specific column of your choice. Like again, as an example, if you go with etc password, you see so many columns are there. Here it has a username, then there is an X, then some IDs, then some information. So many things are mentioned over here. So I'm interested to see only the names of the user. I'm not interested to view all the other details. So in that case, how can I ask cut to cut a column and display the output? If you try cut -F, where F stands for fields, the columns that you want to cut, here it is represented as field, first field, second field, third field. Maybe I'm interested in field number 1. You can give F1 or F space 1, both are fine. In which file? etc password. So I'm asking cut command to cut first field and display to me. The moment I hit enter, it displays the whole file. The reason is it is not able to understand how to cut the file. So here we need to use some hint, some field separator, some common thing that is separating two fields. If you observe, after every field, there is colon, second field, colon, third field, colon, fourth field, colon. After every field, this file is using colon as two field separator. So I can use that special character as a field separator or delimiter. Delimiter is a special character that is separating two fields. Now it can be colon, it can be semicolon, it can be at the rate, or any special character that separate two fields. And only one delimiter you can use. You cannot use multiple delimiters. One delimiter can only be used. Now if I hit enter, you see the whole file is cut into one column. Same way, if you wanted to view two fields, so you can say first field and third field. Or maybe you want to see first field, third field, and seventh field. So this is the way how you can use cut command to cut the output into columns. Here the logic is the delimiter what you are using. So if your file is having some special characters like exclamation, at the rate, hash, dollar, percentile, colon, semicolon, or normal colon, whatever, you can use these characters as a delimiter. But guys, there will be some other files that will not have any normal special characters. Like you see, after every field, there is space as a special character. So here space is separating two fields. Guys, how to use space as a delimiter? So you can say cut -d. I cannot just leave the space like that to represent space and say show me field number 1. It will say where's the delimiter? Tell me the symbol. So to symbolize delimiter, you have to use single quote or double quote. And between that quotes, you have to use a space. And when I hit enter, you see it is understanding that, okay, where there is a space, I need to use it as a delimiter. So you can say first field, or maybe fourth field, or maybe you can say first and third field. Both are going to display. So this is the way, guys, how we can use cut command to cut the output into fields, and you can view any field, whichever you feel like viewing it. Now, moving forward, there is one more command called sed command. See, sed command is generally used to search and replace something in the file. But honestly speaking, sed command itself is an ocean where you will have so many things to learn, right? One of the usage of sed command I'm trying to show you over here. For example, I have this file XYZ file. Now in this, I wanted to replace one character. For example, I have something called uh, place. This word I want to replace with something else. So you can use sed command. You can ask sed command to search something. What do you want to search? Place. And in place of this, you want to put another word. For example, I wanted to put best institute, right? And which is the file? XYZ file. So I'm telling sed command, search for the place and replace with that. But actually S stands for substitute. So I'm telling in place of place, substitute the word institute. In which word? XYZ file. So you see earlier there used to be a word place, which is now replaced by another word institute. But guys, there is a real beauty of this. If you read the file, nothing really changed. By running this command, you have actually viewed the preview that how it is going to change the thing. If you are happy about this change and you really wanted to insert this change, apply this change, then you have to say sed-I, where I represent insert. So when you say insert, this change is going to get applied onto the file. Now, if you read the file, the change will actually take place. So this is the way, guys, how we can use this sed command and we can make these differences, right? Now, so in this chapter, guys, we have learned so many things. So we'll stop the session here. And in the next part, we are going to see the last thing what we are going to work with that is called as file permissions. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. Hope to see you in the next video.